In the words of Men in Black, goddamn bugs. Oh wait, because those were supposed to play back to back. But goddamn bugs. But it is Saturday. Hey, hit the hey again. Goddamn it.
No.
There we go. Maddie's here from the start. What do you know? He is back in the driver's seat. Welcome to After Dark. Big shout out to anybody who watches this. If you are a part of the Movie Trivia Schmodown page, please go over to their to the basically Google Doc that Christian put out and vote After Dark for favorite after show. We don't talk as much Schmodown as we have, but if you've ever been a part of our show, you know that sometimes it goes back to it. But I'm of course your host with the most, Matty G. I'm going to go around the horn and introduce who's here tonight. He is my right hand, my ride or die, the person who said, Matty, we should do something again, Mr. Matt Beard.
All of us. Here we go. Hi, guys. Yes, I will be, in case you want to know, I will be using that right there, that hashtag every single time instead of my name, because I want Michael from Rex Around to be on the Andor show, and he wants to be on it. He's been pushing it, so I'm doing that. Some people say that he's, he's a, what's the guy's name from that plays Cassian? What's his name?
Diego Luna.
Yeah, Diego Luna. Says he looks like Diego Luna's brother. He should be in it. So yeah, Rex and Arandor, use the hashtag.
Alrighty. If my sound's a little off, I'm not sure why. I will start looking with it, but we will introduce Mandalorians next.
This is the way.
Hey guys, how you doing? Not too much going up with Mandalorians this week. I mean, I haven't really seen many. I don't know about you guys, but they're harder to find these days.
Yeah.
Am I sounding better? Anybody? Yes? No?
Yeah, it's just I don't think there was a little bit of static.
It was Alan's indicator, not your mic.
Yeah.
There's a loose wire. No loose wire jokes.
I'll show you a loose wire. All right. Anyways, He is our man with the plan. He is the man from space. He's Mr. Hawaii himself. Dr. Shepard.
Aloha kako, everyone. I am on my way to do a theatrical production. So, but I was wanting to drop in, y'all, because I miss you guys, and I wanted to see you guys before I go sit and cry in a room for an hour and a half. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Definitely be a lookout for the play that Dr. Spaceman said he was going to post to everybody. I personally watched it. I may or may not got a little misty-eyed there, thanks to somebody on screen. You never know who that might be.
Nice.
I'm not on screen, though.
It was really good. Now we're going to go to our man with the news, Mr. You know who he is, because most of the time when I'm gone, he takes over the show.
Yeah, it's nice to... Thank you. It's nice to just be in the passenger seat for a week and not be, like, reaching over and driving while Maddie's busy with something else. No, it's fun to be back. Last week was intense because Disney said, fuck you, we own everything. This week was less intense unless you were the guys getting screamed at by Tom Cruise.
Hey, everybody likes to be screamed at by Tom Cruise. Now, sometimes we have people in. If you've ever watched our show, he's usually in the chat, so we decided to actually let him use his voice and not his fingers. Ooh.
What?
That was...
Hey guys, welcome to be here. Happy to talk about a bunch of stuff. Have fun.
Yikes.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, little housekeeping. Please do like, comment, subscribe, do all that loveliness. If you're a first-time watcher, we do this show typically about this time every week. Sometimes we have guests, other times we don't. Dr. Spaceman's in Hawaii, so so sometimes we get to see, what paradise
looks like.
Paradise look like. I was thinking Quarantine in Paradise because
looks a lot like Jurassic Park.
It really does. I mean, y'all don't want to see the shitty desert where I'm at. I'm sure Nikki and Devin are under some snow.
Yeah, lots of snow.
If we started an hour earlier, you can actually see Disney fireworks from my window.
That's fucking cool.
I might have to do that next time.
I was just thinking that too. Matt, do you have snow?
Do I have snow? I did. Now it's gone. It melted.
Chris, I don't know where you're at in the part of the world. Do you have snow?
It's in a very cold part.
20 years ago, we had a snowstorm on Tuesday.
So then the answer is yes, I have fucking snow out there. God damn it.
Yeah.
Just answer my question.
Sure, I thought Chris was like in Florida or California, so this is new information to me.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, okay, let's put it like this. Okay, I'm going to stop everybody.
Snow!
I was in shorts and a t-shirt today. I mean, you know, it was like 65 degrees outside. So for you.
Yeah, we don't get to do that here. Yeah, we don't get to brag.
I mean, I'm in Connecticut, home of beautiful.
Oh, and he just kicked himself. Here, I'll put you back up there.
Oh, the ego has landed. He needs to be number one.
I can do that. I was talking, and then all of a sudden I'm like, "You bastard!" But no, here in Arizona, it got down to 25 degrees this morning, so it gets goddamn cold here. I know everybody's looking at me like, "What?" Yes, it actually gets bone-chillingly cold here. It actually freezes almost every night.
So not living in Arizona. Check that off because it gets cold.
Liar! Well, like right now, it's probably 55, 40-ish degrees outside.
I feel like Alan has a great point, but he's muted.
And Alan makes great faces while he's muted. I love it.
Yeah.
I do. I just sit here while I'm talking.
It's like Penn and Teller. Like he's Teller.
Alan, because you are driving, if at any point you want to be unmuted, just say so, and I'll.
Yeah. Yeah, make a hand gesture.
So, all right.
Oh my God, he knows sign language too. Alan is just the best, everybody.
Alan is my spirit animal. Like I love hanging out with Alan. Like during quarantine, he was so much fun. Like just to shoot the shit with. So what we're gonna do, ladies and gents who are actually watching and those who aren't, we're gonna pick up with our topics last week. Last week we went over 3 hours, and we decided that we were all kind of crashed out. Maddie kind of disappeared to the back of the stage because he didn't want to kill somebody on screen. So, you know, a little bit of housekeeping. Anyways, that person's not here, so you know you can take a head count. And it's not my my D's nuts partner in the chat, Mr. Grant. We'll get you popped in shortly. So Mr. Abron, I'm gonna go ahead and play the first video. And then
Yeah, absolutely. If you got it pulled up, or if not, I can click it.
I've got it right here. Oh, I like to click it though, so let's click it hard.
Our first story of the night is focused on stories from last week we were unable to finish. We were not able to get to Hulu or FX's announcement, so we'll get to just some of them here. However, there were far more shows announced that you guys can find information on online. In terms of show renewals, both networks renewed some of its biggest shows. For Hulu, the biggest renewal was The Handmaid's Tale, which ahead of its 4th season airing was already given a renewal for its 5th season, meaning fans of the show have 2 more seasons to look forward to. As for FX, its biggest renewal went to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which was greenlit for not 1, but 4 more seasons, taking them to 18 total by the end of this renewal. In terms of brand new content, FX announced its long-running American Horror Story will be producing a spin-off called American Horror Stories. The anthology series will run 16 episodes, and rather than focusing on season-long arcs, each episode will have a brand new theme or plot. It is currently unknown what casting for the show will look like, and if it will use the same recurring cast in new roles each episode, or completely recast its roles. Both networks, Hulu and FX, also announced brand new series. Probably the biggest series that Hulu announced is the show Dope Sick. The miniseries is based on Beth Macy's book about the opioid crisis. The series will star Michael Keaton and is currently being written by The Butler writer Danny Strong and Rain Man director Barry Levinson. This miniseries will last 8 episodes. FX's biggest show announcement came with the announcement of an Alien series, which is set to enter development. The show will see Fargo's Noah Hawley serve as showrunner and writer alongside Ridley Scott, who will executive produce the film. Scott's work on the film continues his longstanding association with the franchise after having created it back in 1979 and continued work on Prometheus and Alien Covenant. They also confirmed the show will be the first Alien story set to take place on Earth. You can tell when I've done multiple takes of one of those because I fuck up near the end and just decide I can't be bothered fixing it anymore.
I can't hear you with that pity dick in your mouth.
Thank you. Maddie had a bit of a tech issue, so he's gone for just a minute. He'll be back. But yeah, so obviously we're cleaning up from the end of last week. Disney splooged so much we couldn't get it all in one 3-hour episode, so we're bringing it back this week for the Hulu FX. Now, like I said, there were plenty more announcements given, just like every other thing. They were given full entire slates that would just be far too long to try and put into one video. So I picked out the things that I thought could be the most interesting and talked about those. If anyone has anything else about it they want to bring
Irrelevant.
up. Spaceman, since you're with us, I'll go ahead and go to you. Any of those shows that were mentioned interest you or anything else you know about?
Well, I'm interested in the alien thing. However, you said it's going to take place on Earth?
They didn't say to what capacity, but they did say it will be the first alien-based property to have a setting on Earth. I don't know if that's the entirety of the show or just a portion of the show, because we've also never seen anyone on the planet, so it could just start there and move on.
That's what happened.
Yeah, that makes sense. In Covenant, that makes more sense. That if there's a little bit of, the pre-launch of the ships or whatever that is, the more insights to the company. That might be interesting. I enjoyed Covenant more than I should have. Prometheus was kind of bullshit, but Covenant I didn't mind. So yeah, I'm interested in those kind of stories and see what they can do.
Yes, and it is interesting to note that a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the fact that Noah Hawley was kind of taking a step back from that Star Trek film he was working on. Now we seemingly know the reason why he's doing it. It's to work on the Alien franchise.
Yeah, which is funny you bring up Star Trek because this, that announcement that it'll be set on Earth reminds me of when they announced Star Trek Enterprise. They originally pitched it as a Star Trek show that takes place on Earth. But then by the time it got to production, they're like, yeah, no, that sucks. Just put them on the ship.
Okay, so to address the comment, Grant, it's not the first Alien story, AVP 1 and 2. In terms of how Ridley Scott looks at his franchise, he does not consider those legitimate to his timeline. They are just separate stories in their own universe. So in terms of that, it means the first one involving Ridley Scott and based off of a continuum of the same franchise, because this will take place in among the same universe that Ripley and David, right? That's the name of the protagonist from the other two, are a part of.
Exactly. You want to put yourself far away from Requiem as possible. That was a piece of trash.
And I'm curious to see, because they made it very clear that it's going to be the horror of the first one, but the action of the second one. I'm really excited to see the blending of the two. Maybe that'll be more. Something else they brought up. I'm going to kind of spin this sideways a little bit. Something they also talked about is they've announced that they have extended The Handmaid's Tale to seasons 4 and 5. Wow. 4 hasn't even dropped yet. That was supposed to have come out this year. They didn't drop it yet, so that's still in the can. And they've already I love The Handmaid's Tale. I didn't think I was going to be one of the people that really actually enjoyed it. I loved it. It was so. Fuck you, Nikki. You care. I really do care. I like that show. I like the fact that they've announced that What We Do in the Shadows is being extended. That show is fucking hysterical. I'm trying to see what else. Mayans. I hope that they continue that show. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. If you Matt knows this for a fact. I love Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy is a great TV show. That ranks right up there with Breaking Bad, in my opinion, which are two of my favorite TV shows of all time. That's interesting that Garth brought up.
I didn't know that existed. Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Thanks for the heads up. Garth always has great plugs when it comes to comics and so forth. So I was like that. Nikki, you're. Yeah, you know what?
So yeah, I was gonna say.
Devin, will you kill Nikki?
I was gonna say what we do in the shadows. That was one of the ones I was referencing to, where I didn't squeeze it in the video, but there's 1,000,001 announcements they made with just these two networks alone. But the interesting thing to me is the Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I am someone who is a fan of that show, but a couple months ago, right before season 14 came out, I hadn't watched some of the newer seasons, and I hadn't seen the old ones like through and through in a few years. So I did a rewatch on it, and the show is starting to hit a point where it does almost feel like they're running out of jokes. But they've also reached a point where they've done episodes where the whole point is they're admitting that they're rehashing jokes and just trying to spin it in new ways. Yeah. And even that has started to run its course a little bit because the show's been going for so long. Mm-hmm. I'm worried that with 4 more seasons and seemingly no end in sight unless they ended at season 18, I'm just very curious. I haven't seen...
Sure you are.
I haven't seen Rob McElhenney's new show, the one he did for Apple, but I heard it was good. So maybe that sort of creative refreshment will be what it needs to help the show kind of move forward. Yeah. But I don't know. It just, especially with season 14, I started feeling burnout. And so 4 more seasons, while exciting, is a little worrying.
For somebody who's never actually sat down and watched a show, is it one of those, is it fairly easy to binge?
The earlier seasons it is. So here's the thing. It's not heinously long. It is 14 seasons, but the first season has 6, and then Danny DeVito is introduced at the start of the second season, and from then on, they're all pretty much about 10 episodes apiece with the odd little variation here or there, maybe an episode or 2 less, an episode or 2 more. But it does average out to around 10 episodes a season. It is an easy watch getting through the first part of the show. It's like I said, it's kind of like if you tried binge watching The Simpsons. I don't think it's taken the nosedive in quality that The Simpsons has, where Simpsons is almost at the point where there's like the Halloween episode's usually pretty solid, and there's like 1 or 2 others, but the rest of it's just at this point.
What? Basically,
it hasn't taken that nosedive, and like I said, season 14 for me was the first notice of, oh, okay, they're kind of starting to run out of jokes a little bit, but they are still coming up with new ways to try and twist it. It's just how long will that last?
Gotcha.
I think with The Simpsons, it just turned into like something came that was better, like Family Guy's The Simpsons, but better.
Okay,
so has come that's Always Sunny, but better. Like that. Well, that's kind of the thing with them. They haven't had any like challengers for like that type of comedy.
And I will say, and I was going to say, you haven't seen it all the way through, but I assume you've actually seen the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I do like, and I noticed it especially binging through it, is the show's biggest breath of fresh air is when it does go extreme, because it's one of the only shows left on any kind of network television, especially in comedy, that's still willing to kind of almost like bite the hand that feeds it. Like they're not worried to go near touchy, edgy topics. Whereas a lot of shows are, but they're doing it in more PC ways, whereas Always Sunny is like, no, listen, at the end of the day, the guys are still going to learn their lesson, but we're not afraid to be fucking blunt about it, which is something that is refreshing.
So is it kind of like a South Park sort of feel, kind of like the way you're saying it, where they can go meta, and they know that they're doing it, but they still come back to where they were, sort of thing, kind of like with the coronavirus special that they did on South Park, which if you haven't seen, that's fucking hysterical.
It's so good. Yeah, and I'm probably like you at South Park. I've never actually watched most of the show all the way through, but I have seen a number of episodes of it. Yeah, I would say it feels very much that way, where it is like there is some semblance of continuity in character, where when you're going for that long, there has to be. But also it is still running the same jokes. Like for me, one of the biggest standouts was when they made the decision to take Rob McElhenney's character like 12 or 13 seasons in, and after 12 or 13 years of haha Mac is gay jokes, they actually had him come out as gay, and now they've been running with a season or 2 hotline, and it's like with that storyline, they're still making the same kind of jokes, but now it's twisted in a sense of they can also start kind of educating and doing stuff with it and doing it in creative ways. Like you can look up the separated clip online, but one of the most artistic things the show's ever done is in an episode where that character comes out to his father, who's been someone who's like abandoned him his whole life. He does it through interpretive dance. And the way they end the scene is the father basically made a non-acknowledgement of it. Like the father still treats him like he's always treated him, like he doesn't care. But they cut to Danny DeVito's character, who's the old, crotchety, uneducated man, and he's in tears. And it's like, oh, so these characters can still grow and learn and kind of start to change direction a little bit. But at the end of the day, if you need to go back to an episode where they're all a piece of shit, that can all be a piece of shit too.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's interesting. Now I want to pick up on something Garth was saying in the chat. Alan driving with the sun in his eyes worries him, and then I'm also nervous of Alan in short sleeves on a sunny day when it's pitch black and we're berries under 16 inches of snow here in the Boston area. Well, sir, to answer that question because he's muted, Dr. Spaceman is in Hawaii, so it's not cold there. I too obviously here when I brought it up, it was 60, almost 70 degrees here, and we were in shorts in Arizona today. So I do not feel bad for any of you in snow. I like looking at pictures of snow while I'm outside at my barbecue in my shorts, my t-shirt.
I wore 2 pairs of pants.
See, when he brags about this,
I wore
have
2
to
pairs
kick him
of
off
pants
the-
today, Garth.
I don't even want to fuck with snow. I don't even want pictures of snow. I love y'all. I feel bad for y'all, but no snow, no pictures. Don't show me a picture. Don't show me no Christmas cards with no snow on it. No snow. There's a reason I moved out here. I don't want to hear about no snow. I'm sorry, y'all. Short sleeves for life.
Been neighbors.
Exactly.
But Alan decided to say
exactly. We could have been.
He woke up and he's like, "Huh, it's cold here. Let's change that." And then he moved to Hawaii.
Yep. Let's change. There you go. Simple as that.
I like the fact that they announced another season of Dave. I'm kind of a fan of that show.
Yeah,
Little Dicky is funny as hell. Like his music's funny. He's funny. So give me more.
Yes, I love that show. I love that show a lot. I'm really glad to get some more of that too. Going along those lines, the comedian Andrew Schultz, who is one of my favorite comedians, he just dropped a Netflix special
Fire, right?
that's in the same. Yeah, well, it's his Schultz Saves America. During the quarantine, he was doing these videos, and they caught on pretty well. And so Netflix, his special is 4 episodes, about 20 minutes each, of that video format and a monologue format. And it's absolutely brilliant because he takes down everybody. And he's probably one of the best social commentators in the comedian form that we have right now. So go check that out.
I'm still waiting for something from our friend Ryan. You know, like I want to know what the Crippler's been doing on quarantine. I think Dr. Spaceman's gonna have to.
He goes by the Crippler.
Oh my God, you weren't here for this.
I respect that more and more. I checked out some of the episode because the idea of being on with a comedian was something that entertained me. You know, I figure if it's anyone who's going to give me a match for my attempted jokes, it's either a real comedian or Kaiser, because he could just rip on you for 2 hours, no problem.
And I have been trying, and Uncle Kaiser may or may not. I'm working on something that with him that I will talk about at the end of the show.
Did you get me on Love Island yet?
Dr. Spaceman, you need to reach out to Ryan again and find out when he's going to be able to come back and hang with us, because that shit was hysterical.
Yeah, I will check that out. He's actually doing a bunch of dates now. And Matt, he's been in Indiana a couple times, in Indianapolis a couple times. And he has a podcast with Johnny LaQuasto called The Cafeteria, which is fucking brilliant, man. And so check that out if you haven't. It's really great.
Like I love his honest portrayal of what his life is like. I made a joke, and he this was an offhanded bad dad joke, and he ripped me to shreds for like 5 minutes. This was before we went live. Like he turned it.
You are the worst transformer ever.
There you go. One more time for the kids in the back.
What the hell?
No.
You are the worst transformer ever.
Oh God. If you haven't seen that episode, please go back and watch it. it's about 2 hours of us just shooting the shit with him. He was absolutely hysterical. So if you don't know who we're talking about, Ryan, I can't even pronounce
I believe it's pronounced Niemiller.
Niemiller placed third on America's Got Talent. If you have to, please look up the video with him. It is hysterical. The man is brilliant. Thanks to our favorite Hawaiian who hooked that up.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, not to cut you off, but I just read the comment. Garth makes a great point. So we were talking about Dave before we switched to that. Dave, and specifically, because I didn't know that, I had to look it up. So the guy who plays Gata in the show is not an actor. He is actually Lil Dicky's hype man who was just given a spot on the show.
Right, I remember reading that.
Him specifically, they do a great job handling bipolar disorder.
Yeah, they really do.
It's one of the most respectful portrayals I've seen of it, in that, like, you can see he is a guy who really is trying, and like the tragedies that character has gone through, you can see the standpoint of, like, it's not always under his control.
Yeah, it's a really interesting. I just think the whole show is brilliant because it doesn't do the usual what a sitcom or a funny show is supposed to, when it's going to have its serious moment. It really blends it in nicely, and it really touches on the reality of all these people. It is just a great show, and Little Dicky's just he's one of the best freestyle artists out there, and he does a number of them on the show too. So yeah, I think it's really cool what they did with his hype man and how they brought him in and handled that disorder very, very well. Because you understand where they're coming from, what the struggle is, without, sensationalizing it or insulting it or making fun of it. It's really a nice job what they do.
One last thing before we jump on to the next topic is, I know you brought it up briefly in the video, the American Horror Story shorts. It's not the new episodes. I don't really care about that. It's American Horror Stories I want to quickly touch on. Obviously, everybody knows here what one of my favorite pastimes is I pay people a lot of money to torture me and, mentally abuse me. We know that. I mean, I just did an experience about 2 weeks ago that I'm not going to spoil all of it, but it felt like sitting in an Unfriended movie. It was so great. The whole thing happened over Zoom. It was like an hour, but I don't want to spoil it because they have another show coming up soon. But what I will say about it is, like, my Instagram inbox was going off. It was over a Zoom call. So like various stories were going on, so forth. And people in the, they had the chat going on where we were all communicating and we were all kind of talking. And so
I think we have a clip from it.
I bet we don't.
Oh, wait.
I bet we don't.
No, there's supposed to be a joke there, but I forgot to hit. Yeah, we have a clip from that show right now. That was you from that night, correct?
No, that was somebody else, but nevertheless.
This one was you.
Good job. Great job.
No, it was more of a what the fuck just happened sort of thing. Basically, what I can give you a little bit of the gist of it. Basically, what it was is about 5 minutes before showtime, I got an email, a Zoom link, and they said, log on to this and have a good camera, good microphone, so forth. And the story played out for about an hour, but by the time it was over, I'm like, it's over? What the fuck, man? Like, I want to know what else happened. But, so we all know I'm a fan of horror. I like the fact that they're doing these. They're kind of like a what if sort of thing where it's individual stories. It's one episode, one story. And I like the fact that, and they're going straight to Hulu. So that shows that Disney has big plans with FX and what they're doing moving forward. And the fact that they've openly said that when they put their new shows out, the next morning they will be available on Hulu. Because unfortunately, I don't have FX. Like right now, we're getting ready to move. So we don't have FX, but I can watch whatever comes up anyways. Like right now, I started Nip Tuck about a week ago. if you've never seen the show, you think that they're a bunch of playboys, you know, like big top dog.
It's messed up.
It really isn't though. Like if you actually watch it, it's so fucking good. Like I was damn near in tears in this last episode we watched because this woman for 3.5 years sat on a couch and she had sciatica in her hip. She's a big woman anyways at the beginning of this, and she fused to the couch. Like her skin and the couch fused. So one of the doctors, you know, they said, you know, he's like, why the fuck are you calling me? You know, I don't have anything. He's like, you're the only doctor that I really knows that deals with skin. And he walks in and he's like, holy shit. So what they do is they pick the couch up, and they cut out a hole in the wall and they move her and they put up a sheet. Like the cops put up a sheet because she doesn't want to be seen, which is really cool. And they actually set her on the couch on a flatbed tow truck and drive her to the hospital. And they actually perform surgery on her. Now she dies in the end, which is the heartbreaking. It really isn't funny. Like it's actually heartbreaking.
It's hilarious. The way that you just told that was hilarious. It was the way you told the story that was funny. She dies at the end, but it's just amazing that they're trying things like that. It reminded me of that story that was in Talladega Nights, where he's talking about they transferred a pig heart into a woman's body. It's like, oh well, he died. Oh, well, it's just amazing that they're trying things like that. The way I would pitch that show to people who haven't seen it, it's like House, but kinkier. Like that's how I would pitch that show. It's not horrible. It's good.
All right, and on that note, we can go.
But so I like the fact that they've released all of their back catalog. Like I love Sons of Anarchy. I can go back and watch that anytime I'm bored. I fucking love that. Like I said, Nip Tuck, I'm already 3 seasons in. So yeah.
Dr. Doom's on that show.
Yes, he is.
Julian McMahon.
Julian McMahon. Fun fact, he was also in Charmed, but
Really?
the original Charmed, he played Balthazar, which was a demon.
Yeah, makes sense.
Alan, he just caught it because at first when I said she was in Charmed, he was in Charmed. He's like, no, I don't remember that. And then I said it, he went, oh, bing, light bulb. All right, Aaron, hit the next video. Let's find out which one.
Well, this one doesn't actually have a video with it because I figured there's no point in recording one. The Mandalorian happened this week, and we're going to go ahead and we're not going to spend too long on it. We'll go ahead and make this plug. Our own Mr. Nicky has his own channel, Nicky Flicks, in which myself and Alan have been lucky enough to be recurringly a part of a review show. So if you'd like a more in-depth analysis, check us out there. That video will be up later this week. But we are going to get into it because we have some personalities here that won't be on that show. We have Chris, we got Beer, we got Maddie, we got Devin if he'd like to speak at any point. By the way, hi Devin, thank you for being here tonight. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
Wait. I want to say it. I love the fact that they actually took the time while they're raiding the place to stop in the cafeteria and hit up Los Pollos Hermanos for lunch on the way through. Yeah. You know, I mean,
look, you gotta feel your body when you're gonna go into battle.
Exactly, like and then they talked about blue meth. I mean, who'd have known? You know, that whole thing. He didn't die in the explosion in Breaking Bad. He just went to space. I mean, what the hell?
He reconstructed it. Luke did it when he had his hand cut off, and you know, Anakin had it done. Speaking of that, Luke Skywalker is in this episode. What?
You're burying the lead.
What?
You're
All right, so if anyone didn't get that, spoilers. I mean, Matt just threw the big one out there, like Jon Favreau slinging his phone around with this show.
But I did put
the big one.
I did put up the spoiler banner over 2 minutes ago.
Okay.
Before I made Breaking Bad.
That's true.
Before
let's get into it.
I did drop the spoiler. So if you don't like it, hop off for now. We should be back on in 3 or 4 minutes.
Don't do
We're not going to get into detail. Yeah, so Luke Skywalker showed up. Who didn't know? I was reading something online that kind of caught me off guard. Do you think it's possible that during Order 66, Luke, can you hear me? Anakin is going off killing all the children, that maybe Ahsoka Tano was the one who got Grogu out of the original Jedi
She was on Mandalore.
No, she wasn't anywhere near.
Yeah,
I know it's possible, but it's a cool theory.
It was.
No, it's not. It's a thoughtless theory.
It's a cool theory, but it was R2.
Yeah, I think
R2 was clearly the one.
Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody a quick question. When you saw the X-wing fly in, was your first mind straight to Luke, or
Yeah.
you guys?
Yeah.
I was so focused on the episode, like I was so drawn in. I thought it was the X-wing pilot from earlier in the season because we had seen him a couple of times, and I thought maybe Mando had put.
I thought
Well,
it was Boba when
that was the Red 5 herring.
Well,
That guy,
when I was watching, and the Dark Troopers, were hitting the door, trying to open it, and then you see the X-wings at first, like, okay, so there's one. You'll see Dave Filoni, and come back after, but then it's just the one, and I sat there, was like, they're not doing this. They're not doing this. This isn't who I think it is. And then of course you see, and then of course he had Grogu. His ears started going up. I was like, they're doing it. They're doing it. That's Luke. That's Luke. Is that first
Well, I loved. We'll talk about this more on our show, Nikki, later. But I really loved that even when you saw the cloak was high enough that it could have been Ahsoka under the cloak, over her manacles. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But I love the fact that this show made me cry with joy, with nostalgia, and with real touching emotion. In one scene when Luke shows his face, and then when Grogu touches Din's face, I'm a weepy mess because I've invested so much in all these characters, and I love the fact that they brought the old with the new, and it just blended perfectly. It was awesome.
And then Dim took his helmet off. I was questioning whether he was actually going to take the helmet off because there's all this shit going on, that he wanted. Pedro Pascal wanted time with his mask off, which I don't believe. There's plenty of people coming out that's saying that it's not true. He only wants it to come off when it fits the story. But what it does the last couple of episodes on your guys' show, you guys talked about it too, and I do want to point this out, that it shows the bond he has with Grogu, the child, baby Yoda, whatever the fuck you want to call him. I don't really I like the fact that he has so much love for this being that he broke the Mando code. He did it twice.
Well, let's put it this way, Maddie. Second time.
Yeah, because the first time he breaks it in the last episode, what's equally as important to the Mandalorian creed was protecting the foundling. So if he wanted to go back to the armor with his head in his hand saying, I had to do some things to protect the foundling to uphold the code. But then in this episode, he willingly removes it. He's not removing it to protect him. He's removing it because it's more important to him that Grogu sees his face.
Exactly.
And that he sees him with his own eyes.
And being a dad, that was the big moment. So I know, Maddie, that helped you out. Look, I got to run because I got to go do my show. But aloha, guys. Thanks for letting me hop on for a bit. I'll talk to you guys later, okay?
All right.
Remember, guys, because the whole thing, I think it makes sense because when Bill Burr, and Mando, they're chilling in the vehicle and whatnot and talking, Bill Burr does say, you are willing to break the rules when you absolutely have to. I thought, kind of opened the door of, he takes it off. He kind of has to because that might be the last time. You don't want Grogu to just see a metal face.
You wanted to, though.
Yeah,
he wanted to take it
off. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to pull this up because the spoiler banner. Garth says he's with Dan Merle and the minority who isn't happy about Luke because
they'll love it.
Because Grogu could have died with Luke when Kylo Ren attacked. I don't think it's that far into the future though. I think because we don't know how long it took place that he actually trained him.
Grogu might not even want to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he may learn, harness his skills just like Luke says he needs to learn his skills and then he can go. So I'm thinking eventually Gorgo's going to come back because the Mandalorian is not going to be the same without that child in it. I think eventually.
I hope he's not back next season. I hope we get the whole season.
Back down the road. Not right away, but down the road.
Yeah, like towards
I
the
do-
end of the season. Towards
I
the
do
end of
want
the
to get you guys on this, and especially Judge Rebel. How do you guys feel about them changing to the Dark Saber rule? Because Rebel they established
I don't care.
It's not a change in the rule. It's what happened is people are forgetting. It's a throwaway line that Sabine's mother says. When Sabine brings the Darksaber to her mother, she questions it. You bested Maul in combat, and she's like, "Well, no. Well, then your claim to it isn't real." So what happened there was Bo had the Darksaber without winning it in battle. She had it.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. That wasn't enough to unite Mandalore. And what's enough to unite Mandalore is getting it in battle. If she had gotten that in battle, that would have been enough to unite Mandalore during Civil War, during the Empire's invasion of it. The whole entire point that we haven't really seen yet, we've just kind of heard stories about it, was that once she united the clans, like in that last episode of Rebels, she went off to unite the rest of Mandalore, and it didn't work. But like her story wasn't good enough. Yes, I've got the Darksaber. Yes, I'm Duchess Satine's sister, but it strengthens her claim if she wins it in battle. It's like Arthur in Atlantis with the trident. Like he was already the rightful king of Atlantis in that movie, but the trident just strengthened his claim even more.
It goes back to the Elder Wand too in Harry Potter. You have to win. Well, you got to think about it. For that wand to become yours officially, you do have to disarm it from somebody.
Yeah,
it's like,
and that is.
So I like that could actually bring a rift between Mando and Bo down the road. That could be something that we see that she's pissed off because the one deal that her and him had was that he would submit to her. And
she should have been more clear about that if that's really what she wanted. But her values are going to be tested now because her philosophy, both times that we've seen her now, she's been breaking up fights between like the clans. Like, okay, it doesn't matter what your philosophy is. We're all Mandalorians. She even did it with Boba and with Sasha Banks in the bar, say, if you showed this much fight against the Empire, we never would have lost the planet. So is she really concerned about uniting Mandalore, or did she want to be the one in charge?
I think she's the one that wants to be in charge.
I think she cares more about uniting Mandalore.
Can we talk about that scene?
Calling Mandalore.
True.
Really?
Can we talk about that scene where Sasha does that head spinning DDT to Boba, and he sold it like a goddamn landed.
Man.
I don't care. He landed directly on the crown of his head, and in professional wrestling, that would have been the nastiest. Like he would have been down and out. I just absolutely loved it. And supposedly she did some of the fight choreography for this season.
Oh yeah. Talk about the women in this episode, though. They like this is how you do an A-Force moment. You don't force it; you just do it.
It felt so natural, and I don't care what
natural.
I don't give a fuck what your opinion on Gina Carano is. Some people want her gone because of shit she said. I don't care.
You're allowed to have opinions.
I don't even care about her opinion. A lot of people want her gone because of it. I want to see where her character goes next. This could be.
Yeah, me too.
It could set up the
Rangers.
Yes, the Rangers show, which I would be absolutely down for. She is.
It looks like Ming-Na Wen's going to be part of the Book of Boba Fett show.
Okay. So Kevin tried to point his point. Do we believe that the Boba Fett show is going to be the Mandalorian season 3 next year, or
I don't think so.
Do we have a confirmation that it's its own spin-off? Do we know that
yet? I was going to say, as the news person for the show, when I watched the episode and that tag came up, the first thing I did was hop on, and that's why I didn't make a video about this topic. I hopped on to properly research it and see to this moment, which if you're watching after the stream, 11:13 on December 19th, Disney has made zero comment. The only thing that we know about this show per Disney, or the only thing we know about this entity per Disney, is the Book of Boba Fett releasing in December 2021. They have not confirmed if it's a spinoff show, if that's the topic of the next season, who's even going to be in it. They have not confirmed a damn thing.
Because there's... Oh, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I do want to say, too, they never said it was going to be a show.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't confirmed anything.
We do actually have something, Aaron. It's from. It's not from anybody who's working for Disney right now, but it's a former Lucasfilm staff member that says that the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian Season 3 have different shooting schedules. So it seems like they're two different entities.
Okay. Where's that report coming from? Where's the source?
It's a former Lucasfilm employee that had worked on Season 2.
Because I was reporting something. I don't remember what the woman's name is. It's something Kennedy. I don't remember what her name is.
Kathleen Kennedy?
No. Oh, fuck. She's a Twitter person. No, she's a Twitter person. She, oh, fuck me. What is her? Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up on Twitter.
Right. While you're doing that, too, another reason why I don't think Book of Boba Fett is Season 3 is because of how the last episode left this off. Because it leaves it wide open. Where do we go from here?
And they go in separate directions too.
Yeah, I honestly think Bo-Katan's going to be the villain of Season 3. Because in that episode, she seems very.
Oh no.
She seems very power hungry. So I think it end up going, one-on.
The question.
And then
the question we have to ask though is who's on Mandalore now.
I don't know if anybody.
I have a prediction.
Turn the glass.
Because they mentioned the name a couple episodes back. If they do bring him into Thrawn.
Wait, what?
Thrawn. You think Thrawn's on Mandalore?
Yeah.
The person I was trying to think of the name. Her name is Grace Randolph.
No, don't trust her. Don't trust her.
She is thinking that it is that, but Andy's
not a reliable source.
Oh Jesus!
She said many things that ended up not being true.
Right, Andy's. He used to work for
Signor.
Yeah, in May, posted a video that this is going to be its own separate show.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now. I know there are some people that don't like him at all, but when he says something according to his sources, 90 to 99% of the time it ends up being true. He reported that Doc Ock was going to be in Spider-Man 3. He reported Toby and Andrew were going to be in Spider-Man 3. He reported a bunch of things, and they ended up being true. And he also reported Boba Fett getting a show.
And this makes sense.
So, I'm fully convinced. Whether it's a movie, show, whatever, Book of Boba Fett's one thing. Just because of how Season 2 ends off, it leaves, where do we go from there? Whether Bo-Katan is going to be the villain or not, where do we go from there? Because, like I said, she seemed power hungry. She's not going to be like, well, you know what, it's okay, man, you got it. I think she wants it. She's going to fight. I don't think she's going to be the villain for the entire series or the season. I think they're going to fight, and then when he beats her, then they're going to go together. Then they're going to go to Mandalore and try to restore it. I don't know if
what I thought was that maybe Moff Gideon was the region of Mandalore right now, because he had the Darksaber, but they get him at the end of the episode, and he's not. It doesn't seem like he's taking the child to Mandalore. So I think there must be some sort of Imperial presence on Mandalore, because when we saw Bo earlier in the season, it seemed like what she said, I need to get something that's back, something that once belonged to me if I'm to rule Mandalore again. But before that, when they were in the bar, and she's saying, once we take our planet back, then we will seat a new Mandalore. So it's just to me, what I think is that her priorities, because Ahsoka Tano was an enemy of hers originally. And she ends up working with Ahsoka Tano to get her home back the first time.
Right.
Then the second time, she has the Darksaber, but she didn't win it in battle. This is Bo's third time trying to rule Mandalore.
Yeah.
I think at this point, she's going to have to look at what's for the good of the people and less of what the better good for herself. Because she's a conqueror, but she's not necessarily a leader.
Well, that's why I think at least the first arc of the season, whether it's 3-episode arc or half the season, I do think it's going to be her against Mando. But after that, she's going to lose, and then they're going to work together. Or she might win,
Or it could
And
be a
then
Jon
she
Snow
did,
Danny
and then
thing. He doesn't
whatever.
want it. He bends the knee and
Yeah.
falls in love
Yeah.
with her and then
So
kills
the
her.
only,
Yeah, so it could be something like that. But
only-
also, real quick, and then because I don't want to forget this because I think it's kind of a cool little thing they did. Isn't it cool that they connected the whole Palpatine thing with this, with the whole blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
I
that was
love
a
it.
nice. Like they finally confirmed it. I assumed, I think we all assumed, that was the case. But I think it was nice. It's like, okay, that's a nice little, connection.
And I
a
like
little
those
nod to
movies
it.
without it. Like I
Yeah.
don't need it, but
Yeah.
it's a good
Okay.
like cherry on top.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was nice.
for somebody who, real quick, and then Chris, you can jump in after me. For somebody who doesn't really know much about Bo-Katan, is there a good starting point to kind of learn her backstory?
So there's an episode, and it's in, I think it's season 2 or 3 in the Clone Wars. I think it might be called like the Dauntless or something like that. The plot of the episode, like look at the thumbnail. It's like Ahsoka, Mandalorians, and snow. They're on a snow planet. It's their first episode. She's with Jon Favreau's character Pre Vizsla, and her Ahsoka and this crush object of hers crash on a planet with Mandalorians. And Bo-Katan and Pre Vizsla are like torturing and killing the villagers on that planet. And that's where she meets Ahsoka. And then you can follow Bo-Katan along with Pre Vizsla on the Darth Maul arc in the Clone Wars because she meets Darth Maul. She knows all the important key players throughout Star Wars. Like she knows Obi-Wan, she knows Darth Maul. She was there for most of like the stuff in the prequels.
So basically, Clone, because I haven't.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to
Clone
admit
Wars Rebels.
Okay, because I unfortunately, when Disney was running all their shows, I didn't have Disney at the time. So, so just
I can give you a list of episodes.
So just kind of run through Clone Wars. I mean, I have Disney Plus, so I can. So just Clone Wars is basically the go-to.
Clone Wars Rebels. Yeah, Rebels too. Rebels is where she gets the Darksaber.
and Rebels tie a lot into the Mandalorian in a lot of ways.
All right. So, Aaron, if s'il vous plaît, if you'd like, you can jump to the next segment. I will kill the spoilers banner.
No, I don't think we got to Chris's thing. I don't think we got to Chris with what he wanted to say.
Oh yeah, Chris. I'm sorry. I completely forgot. Chris, you can wrap us up. Then Aaron, I'll hit the video.
The only reason why I play Spawn is two things. Gideon tried to kill himself after he tried to kill Yoda. So there's probably a bigger reason why he doesn't want to be captured. There's someone higher than him. Also, Spawn, especially in Separate Rebel, is interested in the history of the Sith Jedi Mandalorian. He loves collecting the stuff that who he is. So the fact that we don't know where he is at the Rebel and they leave a lot open, so they're looking for him, that probably do tie everything together, every show.
Right. Well, yeah, I think he could be in it too, especially since his name got dropped in.
John could be the big bad throughout all of them. Like all
yeah, I mean, he could be in multiple, but I guess it would depend when the Ahsoka show takes place. I would honestly put money down on him being in Ahsoka more than season 3, just because like she really wants to find Thrawn. So
Grant, no
shitting
on Mandalorian this week. Grant, no shitting on Mandalorian this week.
I'm not going to shit at it. I'll give my honest opinion about the things that I enjoyed and things that I thought didn't make sense. My only main concern is I think they should have went with like Sebastian Stan or someone to replace, because I like you, I got the excitement when I saw him come in. I initially, I don't know why, but I don't know who the person they mocapped was, but I initially thought it was a woman, because the way in which they were moving, the hips were very wide, and I'm like, is this Leia? I'm like, oh my god, they're really introducing Leia now, and then it turned out to be Luke, and I liked it. But as soon as the face moved and the talking, it took me right out of it. I would have been happy with it. I think it's fine. It's a little bit weird that it's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to go with the son of the guy who killed all my friends and classmates. But no, I thought the episode was okay. For a finale, it wasn't that great, but the big reveal at the end, and especially the post-credit scene, I thought worked. But it does give me the question: does that mean Mandalore season 3 is going to be the book of Boba Fett, and the first one is the first 2 seasons of the book of Din Djarin? Like,
I wonder if they're going to actually just be two. It could be just
two different entities. It seems.
I think it's going to be. I think it could be called the Book of Boba Fett too, where it's just his continuation. And there's no reason that these shows can't run parallel to each. That's one thing that's really pissing me off about fandom is that they're like, well, they can't run parallel. Why the fuck can't they? There's plenty of
Star Trek shows running parallels in the 90s.
Fox has a TV show called 911 that they're LA and their fucking Texas show run parallel all the time. So
Chicago Fire, Chicago PD,
Chicago Fire, CSI. Like there's all different. I don't think there should be things. But the fact of the matter is that they said that they haven't even started any of the pre-production for season 3 yet. That's what throws me. Yet they've already done it for Boba Fett. I'm like, so does that mean we're gonna have to wait two years? Is this going to be like Boba Fett 1 year, then Mandalorian next year?
Seems like they're both going to be in December next year.
Put it back, bitch.
Okay, film Boba Fett maybe directed by Taika Waititi, since he never said what he exactly.
I think it's going to be a TV show. I think it's going to be TV. All right, gentlemen.
Real quick, because I almost forgot.
It was weird, but I think I liked it.
Grogu, being killed by Kylo. I don't think that's going to be the case, because if Grogu can survive Anakin's wrath, killing all the Jedis and whatnot,
and if Ahsoka can survive it,
he'll survive Kylo. I mean, if you can survive Anakin, you can survive Ben Swallow.
They came up with a way to.
But then Disney will turn Grogu into Rey, so that therefore you have to now like Rey.
True.
I'd hate that.
That'd be a great
connection. But before, because I know you're trying to do as well. Before we move on, just the no, this isn't a spoiler. So to answer your question before, Garth also put it in the comments, and he was doing that as I found it. The actor who portrayed the physical body for Luke is named Max Lloyd Jones. He's done a number of TV work, but his biggest film work, which is probably why he got cast, was he portrayed the ape Blue Eyes in War for the Planet of the Apes. So he's worked alongside Andy Serkis in terms of mocap movement. So that's probably why he was cast. And they it was motion capture that they used to body double him.
Yeah, so even though he was credited in it, it's only his likeness that's credited, because they own the rights to his likeness
and his voice.
Yeah,
that's okay. I don't care. It was still a great show. It was one of those that I didn't see coming. Even with the X-wing flying in, I'm like, no, I don't know.
No, I thought it was corny.
On the X-wing when it comes in. That's what I love about it.
All right, so nerd talk is finished.
All right. Video.
All right, so
let's go.
We'll go ahead and move on. Maddie, don't worry. You don't have to tune down the excitement. I'll start playing the video for the next topic, but this is one. Normally, I don't look at a lot of TV news, and some stuff goes unmissed, so I've made it clear to the people around me. If something big happens with TV, let me know, because I just don't pay attention to it. This is one of those things.
And this was all Maddie.
Our second piece of news focuses on the Netflix show Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai has seen immense success over the last few years, bringing back the story of the Karate Kid while continuing on for a new generation. Season 3 looks set to continue the story. Recently released trailers and promotional clips confirmed that during Season 3, Daniel will be taking a trip back to Japan. And with that, we got the confirmation that actors Tamlin Tomita and Yuji Okamoto will return as Kumiko and Chosen from The Karate Kid Part 2, respectively. Cobra Kai Season 3 will debut on Netflix, being the first season to do so after moving from YouTube Originals. All the main cast, including stars Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, Martin Kove, and Jola Mariduena, will return from Season 2. It is set to debut on January 8th, 2021.
Where's Hilary Swank?
I don't give a fuck. Okay.
She got a neck broken in the boxing match.
Right. Okay. So I like the fact that with this, they're picking up. If you've seen the trailers, they're picking up right after where it starts. I like the fact that we see the guy basically TKO'd, when he gets, super kicked for your wrestling fans off the building and lands on his spine. I love the fact that they're picking up right there. I think we're going to see Daniel and Johnny come together and, strike first, strike force. Oh wait, that's the wrong group, isn't it? And out of all of the Karate Kid films, The second one is actually my favorite because it's more of a, Daniel story. It's not about them fighting. It's about Daniel growing as a person. And the fact that she was kind of, his next love after the chick just straight up bailed on him. I like the fact that they're bringing back, familiar faces. They can't bring back Mr. Miyagi. Spoiler, he's dead.
Oh.
Yes,
His wax is
no
off.
longer with us.
Spoiler, he's dead. So I really dig it. I like the fact that Cobra Kai 3, they're not waiting for it. It could be one of those shows that Netflix is like, well, we're going to wait. We're going to put it in like the summer when everybody's home. They're like, well, fuck it. Everybody's home anyways, because, a lot of places are going back to quarantine and so forth. We're going to drop it right here at the beginning of the, what? Mandalorian's gone. There's until March until WandaVision comes out. Well, hell, there's an open scene right here. We're taking it. Thank you. Eat my dick.
Sleep on the Bad Batch, assuming it comes out before March.
Also, just heads up, Chris, if you want everybody to understand what you're saying, write it in the private chat and we'll read it for you because you're at a Mustafarian rave and it's really hard to read what's on your board, especially with the green. So write it in the private chat and see, bro, I still can't read it.
Yeah, Chris, if something's up with your mic and you can't speak, just type it in the private chat. Just we're trying to read
everything.
Well, like I said, just do us all a favor.
Type it in the chat.
Type it in the chat and we can see it from there. But I don't know about you guys, but I didn't get to see Cobra Kai when it was on YouTube. I didn't get to see it. I had to wait till it was on Netflix, and I just binged the entire show in like 3 days because I'm teaching from home again. Fuck you, Nikki. I'm teaching from home again.
Oh no, not you. No.
Oh, it's like what?
I was telling Chris not to write this stuff down.
Chris,
no,
you're banished.
I wasn't saying no. I thought I was muted. I'm like, no, not again.
No, everything on WandaVision in 1 week after Cobra Kai. It's the 15th, I believe.
Oh, see, I thought
it's the 15th.
Oh, see, I thought it was further back than that. I thought they moved it to March.
Falcon Winter Soldier in March.
Falcon Winter Soldiers in March. And I don't care. I'm one of these people that if they put Cobra Kai and Netflix and WandaVision on the same day, whatever comes up on my TV first, whether it's
watch it.
Whatever it is, Disney Plus or Hulu or Netflix, whatever comes up on my screen, I'm going to watch that one.
You're already subscribed to both, so they win. They already won.
Exactly.
Matty, just use 2 TVs. You've got 2 eyes.
That's what I have right here. I've got one TV here with you guys. I got another one over here with you.
I've got my computer I'm on now, and I've got my TV right there. I can do that.
So I was going to say, just to put something else forward. So I personally have never seen the show. I just figure at this point it's on my list of things to watch. I'll wait till season 3's out and then I'll watch all 3 together. I've seen all the Karate Kid movies. I think the first one's great. I think the second one's fine. I think the third one's fucking hilarious, and the fourth one is just trash. And the remake.
There are 5 of them. There are 5.
The Hilary Swank one is trash.
5 of them. So you better
get this man out of here.
The Kung Fu Kid, as it was called in other markets, is a very solid movie, but it's not a Karate Kid movie. But anyways, the point behind that, me saying that being, I was going to bring a point to you. So one of the things I learned in my research, I didn't bring it up in the video, but I'll bring it up here. Obviously, the big thing behind this is they moved from YouTube to Netflix. Now, it's not like YouTube was a great platform to be on in the first place, but one of the main reasons they moved is because YouTube would only guarantee them season-by-season renewal, whereas Netflix, while I don't believe there has been an official confirmation as to a new season, one of the reasons they signed with Netflix is because they specifically guaranteed them, we'll give you multi-year renews.
Wow.
So yeah, no, that was a part of the initial deal. They would get 2 years.
They get 2
doing
seasons.
it with the option of the last year being dropped due to ratings, but I think it was like the 4th or 5th highest viewed thing. I know here in Australia it was in the top 10 viewed, and I know in a lot of countries around the world. So I'm pretty sure that it's automatically secured.
Well, and another thing is Hulu or not Hulu. YouTube was getting away from their scripted programs too.
Yeah.
That's another thing that they were doing is they were trying to get away from scripted programs. So they put it up for grabs. If somebody wanted to continue the story, they had to guarantee at least 2 seasons, which they already have once season 3 drops, and they have to give them the option of another season if it's successful, which it was. Here in the States, the day it dropped, it was #1 every day, for like 6 months. It was #1. It's still on their top 10 as we speak.
Right.
So then the other piece of news that I read while researching, and I'm just looking up so I make sure I get his name correct. So the show for the most part has been written by Josh Hill, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg, the 3 creators behind it. However, one of the things that they confirmed is not just the final episode, but the final 2 episodes of this season will be written by Robert Mark Kamen, the person who wrote the original trilogy of films, who will be returning to take on those 2 episodes. Is that something that excites you, that they're diving even more and more into the history of the franchise and bringing back the old writer?
See, I'm in the opposite. I think the way in which they've done it, the best way I can describe Cobra Kai, it's nostalgia wrapped up within good storytelling and feelings. You take one of the most unlikable characters, and he's probably one of my favorite characters on TV. I don't know anything else the actor's been in, but when it comes to this, I see him on there, and I just gravitated towards him.
Are you talking about William Zabka?
Yeah.
I will say the only other thing I've seen him in, and I thought he was brilliant, he had a stint in the last couple of seasons of How I Met Your Mother that he is awesome in. He is one of the best parts.
Okay, well, I've seen it, and I did. There you go. That goes to show. I've watched that probably about 5 or 6 times. The missus is obsessed with it, and I didn't even know it was him. I know Buddy Barney made reference to the Karate Kid, but that's a different sort of thing. But no, what I'm saying is, I think the way in which they're writing it now works. If it's not broke, don't change it. Like, I mean, when they were on YouTube Red, it was that Pulse and Origin. That was the original 3-deal package that was supposed to be shipped off to Netflix, and Netflix originally agreed to it and went, no, we're not doing the other 2, but we will guarantee 2 for Cobra Kai as long as the crew stays together. As long as we get the same, we're buying not just the property, but we're buying them to do another two seasons, and it's worked. I mean, for a series that I had no interest in, and the only reason why I watched it was because I have premium on YouTube, and I was just looking for something to watch. Mm-hmm. I watched the first episode, and then all of a sudden it was just like, all right, I need to see second season. I need to see second season. So I think keep it the way it is, because it's worked. If they want to do throwbacks and everything, but the fact of the matter is, out of the original writers, there's realistically only one good movie, story wise and written wise, and that's the second one.
Yeah. I haven't seen the second season, so there's that.
I might never went over, and now I've been watching all of the first season of Cobra Kai to get ready for the one.
I gotta catch up on Better Call Saul first.
Nah.
Do that. Do it now.
I love Better Call Saul. I
love Bob Odenkirk. That movie that he's in looks good.
Nobody. Oh my god.
Yeah, that looks good.
I love Better Call Saul. I just need to catch up. I don't know why.
Better call John Wick.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm telling you right now, it's not as good. I don't care. That Bob Odenkirk movie not going to be as good as Beckman. There's no way.
Beckman is the shit.
Yeah, we need a sequel. Beckman.
No,
Beckman. Christian John Wick.
Christian John Wick.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
You know Pure Flix.
Who made Netflix, but they're all they do God's Not Dead, God's Not Dead 2, God's Not Dead 3, God's Not Dead 4, God's Not Dead The Ascending,
No.
Actually, technically that one's not out yet.
Damn it, don't give them a title, Grant.
Please, no.
Oh, and the best part about it is the owner of Pure Flix is the star in every single movie.
Well, don't you fucking know that?
Me, Cobra Kai, they wrote enough to look. They took Lucifer for Fox when they can't delay it doing well.
I don't care. This movie is great. It's 4 out of 10. Which
is that Aaron Eckhart?
No, that's
David A.R. White.
Yeah, that's him. He's in
It's
all
like
the
Aaron
God's Not
Eckhart
Dead
let
stuff.
himself go.
So he's in all the God's Not Dead movies. He plays Aaron Beckman.
And there's a Baldwin brother.
And he's in God's Not Dead, Revolutionary Road. Basically, every single Pureflix movie he's in.
So he's not a sequel to those. He's playing that character.
Oh, yeah, he's playing Beckman.
Anyways,
He is Beckman.
Let's move on.
So it's making fun of the guy.
No,
Sorry,
no,
I've also got to mark off on my bingo card that Matt changes the subject to Beckman. All right, I ticked that off. Got 2 more things to go for a line.
I just love the title, Beckman.
That's great.
I feel like Matt sins against the whole point of the movie by just watching it as like jack off porn, like completely against the Christian ideals.
Don't give up my secrets, Aaron.
Sorry,
See, this is what we were talking about with the Mandalorian. What makes a real Mandalorian? What makes a real Christian? It's
I am offended by that. You assholes, I am offended by that. Why are you looking at my Pornhub history? God damn it! You're supposed to. Aaron, I gave you that.
Do you have an account, or do you just go in anonymously?
In all fairness, Matty, half the videos are gone now. So
back then, in the God's Not Dead films.
Grant, I think I've seen some of your work.
Yeah, my stuff's still on there.
They've
Still
got-
verified. I'm a verified user, man. I didn't get nothing deleted.
So I was gonna say just before.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. So, our next story focuses on Warner Brother and their previously announced decision to release all their films in 2021 with a day and date release to both theaters and their streaming service HBO Max. The move has received a lot of mixed reactions. While many consumers have shown joy at the decision, many within the industry have shown great displeasure. Directors like Christopher Nolan and Dune director Denis Villeneuve have openly berated Warner Brothers and their decision to not inform anyone of this move, including their filmmakers, partner studios, and the theaters themselves. Multiple big pieces of this fallout are happening right now, and probably the biggest is an impending lawsuit. Legendary Pictures have threatened legal action against Warner Brothers, and while the details are not completely open, there is reason to believe that it may have already begun. Legendary, who put in 75% of the budget for both Dune and Godzilla vs. Kong, were not given forewarning of the decision. Legendary invested in these two properties, as stated by their representative, that because they believe both Godzilla and Kong have been viable successes before with potential for more, and that Dune, if done right, was pitched as a multi-film franchise with a television spin-off already in the works. Legendary believes that launching both on streaming service and theaters could cause the films to lose money in box office receipts they potentially could have made before. And with Legendary not set to receive a cut of HBO Max signups, despite the films being two of the biggest blockbusters used during their promotion, this would see mass losses for the money Legendary invested. This move also comes after Legendary was entertaining the idea of selling Godzilla vs. Kong for $250 million to Netflix in an attempt to recoup their spending. This move was blocked by Warner Brothers at the time. However, Warner chose to give no explanation when it was blocked. Another potential issue coming from the fallout of this move deals with talent payment. Many deals that Warner Brothers makes for payment with actors, directors, and the various guilds involved with providing talent see the contracts that are made up of less upfront pay with guarantees of back-end payment based on box office revenue, with talent negotiating for either a certain percentage of the revenue itself or an outright bonus should the film hit a certain mark. Most people will remember last year the reports of Robert Downey Jr. making $75 million off of Avengers Endgame, a majority of this being due to a back-end negotiation he made with Marvel. This would mean the talents who worked for cheaper than their normal rate with certain promises could not see those profits realized due to the split revenue of the films. It does not help that, according to Variety, Wonder Woman 1984 director Patty Jenkins and star Gal Gadot, both of which had back-end deals in their contracts, were not only contacted about the move, but were allowed to negotiate deals that saw them receive payouts roughly equating to if the film had grossed $1 billion at the box office. This means that Warner Brothers will either have to negotiate deals with every single person they have a back-end deal with, or risk angering a lot of potential talent they've. So before I got cut off, I was gonna finish off with the fact that as someone who's not seen Cobra Kai, the only thing I could contribute is looking at the cast list. I'm shocked at the number of former Disney Channel talents involved with the show. And the follow-up was, that's easily the longest video of the night because there's a lot of fucking reality breakdown.
Sorry, I just wanted to move on because, it was fun.
Right. And I do want to say, before we get into this whole thing, I went on a certain hub. I learned never to look up Grant Gregory on the hub because the first video that came up was, someone called hentai. It was animated. I was dying.
What's wrong with that?
Are you kink shaming? Are you kink shaming?
Yes, I am.
Wait, Beer.
Yeah.
What is the goddamn #1 rule of our show? I mean,
don't kink shame.
If we're gonna win Schmodown after show of the year, we cannot goddamn kink shame. Fuck.
Well,
I would not be a host of this show if we kink shamed.
Look, how about this? We'll get Harloff on the show, and then we'll talk about different kinks.
I mean, come on now. We're trying to get sponsored. Matt, we are trying to get sponsored by Blue Chew. So we need to keep that.
Look, you know what? Fine. You know what? If you're into the hentai stuff, cool. Do it. I don't care. If you're into
being sponsored by Blue Waffles.
Hey, and guess you know what? Also, what relates to furry? Some HBO movies in Warner Brothers films. Now let's get into HBO Max.
Yes, thank you. So
they do have Eyes Wide Shut on there. I mean, let's.
So a couple of weeks ago, we got into it. We spent a large chunk of the show that we talked about HBO Max, talking about HBO Max and any of the repercussions that could fall out of it. And as I mentioned in the video info, at least on our episode. And on the consumer side, a lot of people are focusing on the positives. But as we're seeing now, there is a lot of other negatives in terms of how it's affecting the industry and how it could affect the people involved that we're starting to see. None the least of which is the Legendary Pictures lawsuit, which if we're talking about 200% of a budget over 2 films, 100 and 100, they provided 150 of it. And right now, they're not seeing a direct path as to how they're going to make that revenue back.
But that's the gamble of funding films. It's within their contract. They have the lawyer that did the statement. The way in which it's worded was they can change distribution rights in extenuating circumstances. I think all the cinemas being shut down, the COVID rights, does that. They're going to lose the lawsuit, but what's probably going to happen is it won't go there. They'll do some sort of little back end deal. Warner Brothers will take a little bit of a hit to do it, but they're well within their legal rights. Or would they prefer them to just release it in cinemas, 8 cinemas across America, 10 across the rest of the world, and see how well it does there?
Well, both of those films are set to come out deeper in the year. It's not like they're January releases.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think part of Legendary's standpoint is a year from now, we don't know what the landscape will look like. It could be the same, but it could also be improved. And so the fact that they made this decision that far ahead of time without warning them at all, because at that point it's also about courtesy. You had no courtesy to tell them, hey, the film you paid
for. Business. There's no courtesy in business.
Yeah, I hear Grant say it's like saying it's like after the fact. Say, well, you didn't invite me to the party. Were you gonna go? No, but wanted to be invited.
That doesn't equate.
All right, okay.
It's a bit different, Nikki, because they're paying for the party. But yeah.
Exactly.
Hold on, Beer. What do you want to say?
Okay. So I think when we were talking about the whole HBO and Disney and whatnot, so I think what they're gonna do, they'll work out a deal with all the actors and whatnot to have the back pay thing.
Back end pay.
Back end pay. And how they're going to pay them based off of if a movie made $1 billion or what they estimated the movie was going to make. I think there's going to be sponsorship deals with other companies and AT&T to make the money to get these movies made, make what they would have gotten originally. Maybe before the movie starts, we get
they can do a product placement.
Yeah, Michael Bay it, man. That's the way they're going to do it.
Yeah.
No, that's how Stargirl was able to double dip.
Yeah, so that's how I think they're going to do it.
So this is one of the, I didn't put it in the video because that video is long enough as is, but one of the examples that I remember happening was, this deal was with Warner Brothers. Last year, Todd Phillips talked about how he did joke, per negotiations with Warner Brothers, he did Joker for peanuts, basically. In terms of his actual check pay, but was able to negotiate, I believe it was around, but somewhere between 30 and 45% of that film's general gross. So obviously that film goes on to make well over $1 billion. He's in the he's in the green, right? No one could have expected that type of payday for him.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, if Warner Brothers is willing to negotiate that type of a deal on a movie that wasn't expected to come anywhere near $1 billion, what are some of the deals they're negotiating with their talent, and how much money is that going to set you back?
Diaz, what you got?
I have to bring up two things. Warner Brothers doing this because despite they just had 2 movies that come out this year. One of them is now playing overseas and not doing so well overseas. Tenet didn't do so well overseas, so this is reaction to, can we make money in COVID time? That's why they're doing a lot of this deal to put everything on HBO Max. Especially when both movies have really big budgets, especially Tenet have big budget for it, and Wonder Woman.
Well, okay, I'm gonna jump on that one. Right now, Arizona is turned into a hotspot. Our theaters haven't closed yet, even though our governor made a mandate that it was supposed to happen several months ago. They're still open. People aren't
Be
going
back in 5, guys.
All right.
Okay. Arizona, we're still our theaters are still open, but people just aren't going to them. I mean. That's why we keep getting those special screenings all the time, because they're trying to do that. I think HBO Max, they're gonna get the fallout from it, because hell, who knows? This vaccine that came out may not work. You never know. There's a report in England that COVID-19 has already mutated into something else, and it's the mortality rate of it isn't worse, but it's easier to catch. So we could be looking at another. We could be hold on. So what they're doing right now is they're going, okay, we're going to put it in theaters still where we can, but we're going to give it to our subscribers who are still paying money for it. That way they can feel safe going to it. And there are places that are threatening to, especially for HBO films, knocking their ticket prices down to several bucks a piece, which I don't really give a few shits if they do that or not. Like Wonder Woman, I was really bummed out that at one time they weren't putting it on HBO Max, because unfortunately, a movie like that, I would be worried about taking Caleb to go see in the theater because of all the people, even with their masks and so forth. And at the drive-in, it's going to be too dark at times to see. So I like the fact that they're doing it. Like, you take Mortal Kombat. We all know for a fact Mortal Kombat, if it comes out and has raving reviews, that movie wasn't going to make anything at the box office. I love the fact it's a hard rated R film, but it's not going to make money at the box office. So what they're doing is they're double dipping. They're still double dipping, because you're paying money for it, and they can do product placement throughout it. They can product place the shit out of it.
I think what they'll do,
they can't product place any of these films. They can product place future films, but pretty much every film that's in question has already been filmed and finished.
I think we're going to get ads before the movie.
Why can't they go in? Well, hold on. Let's take Matrix 4 that comes out, in several months. Who says they can't go in and Photoshop or even just do small scenes where it's a flash of a billboard of McDonald's or whatever, it doesn't have to be, or just have somebody like CGI, somebody holding a Pepsi can or something along those lines. So it can be done. It's just whether they want to go back and do it. I mean, look at I Am Legend. Look at I Am Legend, for God's sakes. It was coming out.
Batman versus Superman poster.
Batman versus Super logo. That was actually supposed to be an Easter egg for the Batman versus Superman movie that was supposed to come out.
Or if they got paid for something, replace it with that. Like, that stuff is always temporary if somebody pays them enough money to replace it. Like it's like a temp track.
Right.
Plus, hold on. They just they're going to quadruple their subscriber rate because I added to the banner. They finally made the deal with PlayStation and Roku. So I can I finally went out and signed up for HBO Max because I can watch it on my TV. I can watch it on my TV now. That was the problem I was having. I don't, every time I want to.
Roku is great. Their OS is great.
Yeah, I love Roku.
It's so simple, my mom can use it. That should be their slogan. It's so simple, my mom can use it.
Plus, I like the fact that with our Roku, they've actually added streaming channels to our platform because So we have our basic channels, but then it jumps to like several hundred, and it's all kinds of like streaming shit you would get on like, you know, their Roku TV channel, but it's already up there. So I kind of think that's neat. But I finally subscribed to HBO Max because it's, you know, it's on my, you know, I can.
Have you used that Pluto app? Have you tried that? That's a great app too.
Which one?
That Pluto. It's just so much free stuff.
I love
thousands
Pluto.
of channels.
That's two things that I can't get in Australia yet. We don't get ours until bloody June next year, June, July.
And Grant, you know, being a Whovian and so forth, something I do want to point out that's really cool with Pluto TV, they actually have 24/7, 365 serials of classic Doctor Who. They go
nice.
Well, they go all four. Like, you know, the average serial for Classic Who was 4 to 5 episodes, right?
Yeah, per story. Yeah,
per story. They play them back to back to back to back, and then they continue with that Doctor, and then they'll move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And it's
they do it next gen too.
Yeah, they I don't know if you heard, but they've actually a private seller ended up having 2 episodes from the second from Crown's Doctor, stuff that they thought was lost, stuff that they couldn't even animate yet. So there's literally 2 episodes that are out there that no one has seen except for when it first aired freaking years ago.
Yeah. By the way, that's going to come up to something I'm going to announce, that we're going to start weekly shows at the end of the show as well. But I think it's a blessing and a curse too for all of them, because unfortunately, like places like Legendary, that sucked for them that they shelled out all this money. But I think in the long run, they're going to figure it out, because they are still releasing it in theaters. It may not be as, you know, abundant as it was, but it's still getting its theatrical release.
Okay,
and they're only on. Hold on. I don't know if
go ahead. Yep.
Also, I'm muting his ass because I'm gonna say this before I get it out. God damn it! I don't know if you said it in the video, because your videos kind of glitch out on my end. They're only on there for 30 days. Like, they're not gonna. They'll be on HBO Max for 30 days from release date. So you're gonna have to watch it within the first 30 days, or you have to go to the theater and see it.
Well, I don't think that's going to affect whether people go see it or not. Because if people want to go watch like Wonder Woman or Dune or whatever, and they can't go to the theater, they're going to watch it in those 30 days. It's not like they're going to, not watch and be like, oh, I forgot to watch Wonder Woman, and it's January 25th. Gotta go to the theater.
It's going to get tired as hell out of it.
But
my question is, why does Disney get a pass but Warner Brothers don't? They're essentially doing the same thing, and no one's bitching it.
But Disney's not doing the same thing. As much as Disney put movies on their service, Disney also recommitted to the theatrical model and said, look, the films that are going to theaters are going to theaters. The films that are going to Disney Plus are going to Disney Plus. Only one movie is doing that model, and if you want to get it on Disney Plus, you have to pay for it.
There is no way in the world Black Widow is coming out in March. I'm telling you that right now.
I don't think it's coming out.
There is no way in the world. They're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to use the Mulan bloody thing where they charge you $20 or whatever it is.
Then we reach that point, but as of now, that's not what their plan is. And the fact is, the world is in such a state that we can't go off assumption and say it as fact. The fact is, they've reaffirmed a theatrical release.
This whole thing is assumption, though. That's the whole point. It's just that they said it. We don't know whether it's going to be true or what's going to happen. I mean, it's all speculation, and that's the point of the discussion, because it is at the end of the day, it's all speculation.
Here's what I'm getting at, and this is why I am actively against Warner Brothers. Like, I get, like, you can say whatever, business is business, whatever, fuck else, right? Here's the fact of the matter. All right, Legendary Pictures partnered with Warner Brothers and invested 75% of the budget into 2 films, meaning, yes, Warner Brothers will distribute it, but they did not invest the bulk of the money into those films. Most people will see a new movie in the first month of its release. So the fact that it leaves HBO Max after 30 days, in my opinion, means jack fucking shit. Because
I agree with that. It doesn't mean anything.
Seeing it in a theater, or if they miss it, They'll either see it on HBO Max or they're just going to wait till it releases. Because once it's on DVD, it's going to go back to HBO Max.
Yeah.
The fact that theaters have it for the back 2 months means nothing. The first 4 weeks are what mostly matter, and you're splitting revenue at that point. So here's what happens. Let's say.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, this is where I understand Legendary's anger. Let's take every person who would have gone to see it in theaters. Let's say only half of them now have the opportunity to see it in theaters. And again, the reason I'm conjecturing this is because the 2 films' respective release dates, Kong is in May and Dune's in October. If these were January releases, I would understand the point. But the fact of the matter is we do not know what will be happening 6 to 9 months from now.
Yeah. So scientists saying that this is going to last throughout
they
the
have the
entire
right to be
year,
accepted
like as
in a
far
legal
as like
way.
the masks and social distancing.
Right. So we don't know all the specifics of it yet because we have to wait and get there basically, or get closer.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers has pinched it in a position where, okay, we're going to market the fact that Kong and Dune are coming to our service, and we're pinching on getting signups for those films because people will want to see those types of films. Legendary gets 0 cut of that. At least that's how the contracts are now. They get 0 cut of anything. And I don't see Warner Brothers handing money out to them because it's not like there's a thing when you sign up where you go, what are you signing up for? And you click check Kong. They can't go,
Who's to blame for that screw up, though? That's
should go to Legendary.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Whoever Legendary's lawyers are.
Okay. Hold on.
I view this as a bad thing. I just think it's business is business, sure. And whatever, fucking money talks, greed is good, whatever fucking you want to call it. But at the end of the day, what I see is an industry that is devouring itself apart when if they want to actually survive, they should be coming together and working together. Legendary and Warner Brothers have been partners for years. And if this does go to court, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. I fail to see a future where Legendary will want to work with Warner Brothers, and they're already pissing off their top talent.
But Legendary won't exist because of what Warner Brothers just did.
No one's been a Warner Brothers dick rider for years. Is he actually going to work with them again? Denis Villeneuve has worked with them a lot. Is he going to work with them again? Do they want to continue it because of the lack of respect they've been shown?
Okay, now here's my counter to that. The average theater has 20 rows per theater, okay? We have to divide that by half, which is 10, and they average 20 seats per row. So we actually have to quarter that because you're going to put 2 people together and then you've got to put 2 seats on each side. So you have to quarter that. That's 5 seats. So you're looking at 50 people per theater at the most, at the absolute most.
It depends on what you're distancing.
It doesn't though.
But that's how I'm distancing it because
I agree with Matty. Matty's right. It does the same thing here. We have a cinema that's in town that holds 400 people.
Yeah.
Our capacity is 50.
And how many are actually going?
Well, that's getting back to my point. Hold on, Nikki.
This is the capacity it usually is. This is the capacity it's down to, and this is how many people are actually going.
But Nikki, you're fucking proving my point, though.
Yeah, you're proving the point. Yeah.
You're absolutely proving my point. So there would be maybe 50 people allowed in a theater, but let's say maybe half of those people go. So that's 25, people in a theater. Then you got to take the extra time to go through and sanitize everything because the people are going in there. Like literally, I watched him at the end of our last screening. Like they had people coming in and cleaning while we were finishing up our surveys, and they were straight up spraying the seats, the actual seat itself. Now these are leather seats too, but that's not here nor there. Ooh. They're spraying the seat down and then they're cleaning it off and they're throwing that towel away, and then they're getting another one per seat.
It's tedious.
So then it's extremely tedious. So then instead of maybe getting, 6 showings, let's say 6 showings. I know theaters are open longer than 12 hours, but let's say 6 showings.
Some of them aren't.
You got to cut at least 1 showing out because of the extra time to clean. So this way, they're still releasing it in theaters. So if you want to see it in theaters, you still have the opportunity to see it. But this gives it another way to further bolster sales. And Yes. Now, hold on. Now, going back to the Roku deal, you know that increased their revenue.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
There's
Yeah, absolutely.
So what they can do is take a back end deal, because you know all these movies that are coming out, they're going to have to rewrite every deal. Just
Warner
like
Brothers is completely content with eating Legendary alive.
Well, what I'm getting at is just like with the Marvel and their. I can go back to looking at you guys. I can quit reading that. What Marvel did is they restructured all their deals with their MCU actors to include streaming. So what makes you think that now that it's come out and everything, that when Legendary takes HBO or Warner Brothers, whatever you want to call them, to court, that the judge can't go, well, look, this is what's happening with a different company, and they're basically doing the same thing. So let's take their example and move on.
But you can't use an example of a different company in a court of law. It's not the court of public opinion. It's a court
but the
of
fact
law.
of the matter is, Legendary had the opportunity to add streaming within their contract with it.
Yeah.
The contracts
They
get
didn't-
updated every single movie, and not once since anything's happened about any of the distributors did they ever try and re-include.
Whether it's good or bad is irrelevant.
Here's what you have to. Here's what you have to look at, though. Yes, they didn't update to do it, but that's because they were never given any clear intent that that's what Warner Brothers would want to do. Yeah. That's another part of the video.
No, but that's on them. It doesn't matter. It's up to them to protect their own interests.
It's bad business for Legendary.
Netflix wanted to buy Kong versus. So I did the math quickly. For Dune and Kong versus Godzilla, this is not counting marketing, production budgets for both combined was $330 million. When you take 75% of that out, that is $250 million. Netflix wanted to offer them $250 for just Kong versus Godzilla, which would have cut Legendary dry. That would have saved them. Warner Brothers blocked it. And then didn't take that opportunity to tell them, hey, this is our plan going forward. We're going to move them to our streaming.
Warner Brothers did have the distributing rights, though. Like, Aaron, I hear what you're saying. It's mean. It's mean of them. But I'm just not sure what you're expecting to happen in a court of law. Because you're allowed to be mean in America.
How much money are you going to bleed to people that you've signed contracts with? Because at a certain point, you can't make all of it back. Because
I know,
and that's the reason. That's the reason why Warner Brothers is $780-something million in debt.
Yeah,
they have to find a way of getting the money.
There's not many spoils of this, and they're taking as much of it as they can.
Okay, look at it this way, right? They are in business. They are in bed with Legendary. Legendary footed that dinner bill of $250 million. If you had let them sell Kong versus Godzilla, Legendary get their money back. Let them keep that. Let them keep the $250. Legendary gets their money back. They're in the clear for 2 films, and now you have one whole film in Dune, which you can move to your service, take the extra profit, because the fact is, if they're not getting a cut of HBO Max signups, that means proportionally the studio that put in more money is going to make less money off of these 2 films. Warner Brothers can reap all that extra money.
It's not relevant because they never had the distribution rights. It's like Warner Brothers and it's like Universal.
Besides that, they're upset because it's going to streaming. They're not going to sell it to Netflix because Netflix is a streaming service. You're trading one streaming service for another.
Maybe I'm just not a good businessman then, but I don't see the point of pissing off your partners. That's what I'm getting at.
It's not their partners. It's their competition. They've consumed them.
But Legendary is a partner of Warner Brothers for a long-standing time. I mean, if you go back,
what's going to end up happening is that Warner Brothers is going to absorb Legendary. They will be one entity by the time this is all over. They have just sucked Legendary out of all their money.
They're gonna have to buy them from Wanda Group.
Yeah. So at this point, they're not concerned with working with Legendary in the future because they're going to be replacing all those Legendary production.
It's the same thing Disney's done for years. Yeah. It's a very smart business model. You cut back your stuff on the groups that you work with. When they can't afford it, you come in, you save them. You're still going to keep everything that you are. You're just now going to be under the higher banner of Disney.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is doing the same thing.
Unfortunately, it's just how it works. I don't like it either, but it's nobody's obligated in this world to be nice to one another, unfortunately.
Especially when you've got billions of dollars worth of it, because you're saying about they don't want to take, well, why don't they just let Kong do that? Well, why would they give up the opportunity of making hundreds of millions of dollars from Godzilla and Kong and then let Netflix get that?
It's like a house insurance
Hundreds of
policy.
millions of
If you were
dollars.
offered a house insurance policy before a tornado and you didn't take it, and then the tornado hit, and it's like, well, I had the tornado. That's basically what's happening with Legendary here. They didn't want the streaming thing, so they didn't get it. And now that it actually is relevant, they want it.
Right.
Okay, real quick though, I'm looking at release dates. Godzilla vs. Kong is May 21st. If things have turned around, which they very much might by then, it's still going to fucking theaters. So if it is, and these restrictions are still back, they still have the opportunity. They're still releasing it, worldwide.
But they're releasing it.
They're
releasing it in a worldwide capacity to theaters, yes. And if in 6 months we are in a place where people will go and see it in a theaters comfortably, the fact that option on HBO Max is still there, that's going to split the numbers. There are people.
No, but this is the thing. Warner Brothers will do this. If the world goes back to the way it was, Warner Brothers is just going to go, nope, it's no longer on HBO Max.
Yeah, it's no longer on HBO Max. They'll profit from
in
that
cinemas.
Too. Yeah, they profit more from it being in cinemas because those people are.
If they do that, I think they're an even dumber company because that's a terrible marketing move.
Because then,
it might be terrible marketing, but it'll make them $1 billion.
Hold on, gentlemen. I do want to bring this up. In the worldwide box office, Kong Skull Island made $567 million. So if the option is there, that means you're going to cut it. That means just hypothetically cut it in half. That's let's say $251 million right there. Guess what? That covers the budget. That covers what Legendary spent, and it's on HBO Max. They would be happy.
You're not splitting it in half because you have to take theater cut out of that. You basically have to split it in thirds.
Actually, they did. The Warner Brothers did say they're doing an extensive deal on the theaters. They're no longer taking the 80% or 60%. There was going to be a reduced amount, so the investors would get more back.
You're having to.
I know there was something about that with Wonder Woman. That was definitely the case.
Yes.
They're doing the opposite of what Disney did with the last Rise of Skywalker, where they increased their take. Because they're going to be making money one way or the other. So this is the way to essentially throw a cracker to a starving person. Yeah. I don't know the exact numbers because I haven't actually read up on it. But yeah, I know there is something to do with it. I know they're doing it with Wonder Woman because it's the next one coming out, and I'm pretty sure they're doing the same thing with the other ones.
Right, and we also need to keep this in mind. We're still going to be in this past May. We're still going to be in this past July because, believe it or not, when they have this vaccine out, not everybody's going to get it because a lot of people are going to wait. They're going to play the waiting game.
The ones that are at risk will get it first, and then we won't need to try as hard to protect them.
They're going to wait. I think they're going to wait too because you never know. It almost feels like they're rushing us out.
If they say tomorrow it's cured, I can guarantee by May theaters will still basically be empty because it's the fear of it. Even if it gets cured and there's no more cases, it'll take a while for people to roll back to the way it was.
Yes. Now, once we get to September, October, November, that's when you're going to start to see things change. But they're thinking we're going to be in this.
That's why they only did one. That's why they only did a 1 year deal. When they said this is only a 1 year thing,
right?
Which makes sense.
See what 2022 looks like with theaters if they're still running or not.
Well, that's why Marvel pushed everything back.
Yeah, let Chris think because he's been silent for a little bit.
Yep.
So I've been researching, and we also have to consider that the fact that the previous movie, especially for Kong and Godzilla, Godzilla King of Monsters did box office disappointment. And when you look at doing it, the name down there, he's well loved by the people, but his movie doesn't make money. So you should think that Warner Brothers trying to cut their losses so they don't lose a lot of money at the movie. Yeah. Especially how bad Godzilla did, the last one did.
Let's see. Because Godzilla King of the Monsters made about $386 million worldwide. Not great. They were probably thinking more 500 to 700 or even past 700 million.
And I love.
Well, they didn't get the big Japanese market that they were initially thinking of with it.
That's true.
And I love the meme, but his movie of like 2.5 hours. Would people want to recover their things?
So something else to think about. Godzilla versus Kong cost 155 million to make, and Netflix offered them 200K. It went straight. Now they didn't go to Warner Brothers; they went straight to Legendary. And guess what? Big Brother stepped in and went, "No, we're not going to go ahead and do this because of the fact that cuts out their parent company streaming site, because that son of a bitch would have went straight to Netflix, and then." Out of 200 million, out of the 200 million, Warner Brothers would have gotten roughly 25 million for the movie, and they're like, that ain't worth our fucking time. And so at least this way you're still going to get the wide release box office, which if things are getting better, people are going to go out in droves to see it, especially a big budget monster flick. Especially after all this shit, people are going to still go see it regardless. So you're still going to get the box office budget, but then, they can drop it on streaming, and as close to these movies coming out, HBO Max's viewership is going to go up, and then they can put a back-end deal on it when it comes out and it's released on DVD, that Legendary can get, X amount off the back end of it on when it's digitally downloaded or bought, physical copies are sold.
They'll do a syndication deal of some sort. That's literally everything's just going to be syndicated now. Yeah. Once it has its main release, it'll be on every platform after that.
I mean, they also look at can they market the film at covers their game? Like Dune looked good, but nobody knows what the plot Dune is. Let you really read the trailer.
I don't think the plot matters, man. I don't think it matters. It's Dune. It's Denis Villeneuve. It looked good. That's enough. People don't need to know people don't want to know too much of the plot.
Look at Blade Runner. 2049. Great movie.
No, you cannot go. No. Stop right there. You cannot compare Dune to Blade Runner 2049. You cannot compare those two because, you can't compare those two because Dune is a precious commodity. That thing is a fucking
people that are 55 or older, and some other
someone who doesn't
not a big, well-known property anymore. It used to be, but it really isn't anymore.
I'm not a fan of either.
I grew up reading it, but even who did?
Go to New York and then ask 1,000 people. Let's say when there's actually people walking around in New York City, they're like, "Hey, have you heard of Dune?" I guarantee you, 90% of them are going to say, "No, what's that?"
Like the same with State. Remember?
They're going to have to argue.
Will it make money? Like when you look at the name past filmography,
Time. Nikki, tell everybody about Nikki Flicks and where they can find you, since you guys are going to tonight.
Go on Nikki Flicks, watch Force Hub. We're going to talk about Star Wars there. Hopefully we keep that going. I want to go through the prequels and go through other Star Wars things after this. We're going to be done with The Mandalorian, but who knows? We'll keep doing videos. We'll keep doing things. I'm getting better at doing that thing. So yeah, let's do it.
And about me and you doing Discovery?
I would love to do some Discovery. We got some good stuff. And we could just pick random Star Trek episodes to watch. I'd love to do that sometime this week. So some night when it's in the middle of the night, Grant, we'll do that. When it's 4:00 my time, it'll be 8:00 your time, and it'll line up.
I want to find Nikki.
That's correct. Yeah.
I want to find the black and white episode of Star Trek. I don't remember what it's called, but it's got the two races where you're white on one side of your face and black on the other.
The Chromax.
They're black on the left side of their face. Are you how?
Anyways,
the white is right because it was right wing. You get it? See?
Yeah. Anyways, I'd love to discuss that episode with you. I absolutely adore that episode. When you get to that point, absolutely, we will discuss it. You can get Maddie on there, and we'll actually talk about Star Trek. Yep. Holy shit.
Evan might be there. I don't even know if he's awake under that bucket.
I think he's dead.
No, he's not.
Oh, no, don't. Evan, those are...
Oh, Dinjarin, what are you doing?
Nikki's going to kill Devin. So, guys, keep an eye for Nikki and Devin. Keep an eye on the TMG Entertainment or Trivia channel. TV... Facebook group. They will absolutely drop Force Up there when they get it up. Definitely don't forget to like, subscribe, subscribe and comment to Nikki Flicks. Nikki
Good
is
guys, it was to last.
You didn't kill him? Okay.
No,
He will be missed.
no, it's good.
He doesn't talk, so I don't know about that. This is the
Made
way.
of Beskar, so we're good.
All right, Nikki, we will see you next week.
Oh yeah.
All right.
But back on Dune. But like I actually thought Blade Runner was a really good comparison because not a lot of people have heard of Dune. Not a lot of people outside of people from the 80s and maybe 90s have heard of, the original Blade Runner, because once you get to the 2000s, 2010s,
Which version though?
Any version, because there
are like
Blade Runner
400 versions of Blade Runner. There's like 400 versions of Blade Runner.
But it never was like that whole thing when it got announced where it's like, oh, this is going to make $1 billion. Like you go back before they announced Blade Runner 2049 was going to happen, ask 1,000 people, hey, have you heard of it? 70% of the people say no. 30% will, which is more than Dune. Dune,
that's still, it's still 300.
I'll tell you right now, before Denis Villeneuve was, announced as the director, I had no idea what Dune was. I never heard of Dune. And I was like, what's Dune? And I looked into it. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. But so if I didn't hear of Dune prior to that, there's 70% of the people that know who Denis Villeneuve is they don't know what Dune is. And
I can't
Denis
believe
Villeneuve,
you haven't seen like Lynch's disaster piece that he's doing.
I never seen it. I know my dad has. He's like, it's okay. But no, but Denis Villeneuve isn't like a $1 billion box office name. Like, he's a fantastic director, one of the best directors working today, absolutely. But his name, like we saw Blade Runner 2049, for example, his name doesn't attract, that, $1 billion, money, the $700 million money. He makes great movies. They should be making more money than what they do. But Blade Runner 2049, it's it. And then I found it funny. He said, AT&T killed the Dune franchise. No, the Dune franchise wasn't really going to take off because even if it didn't go to HBO Max at all, which honestly it might be seen more because of HBO Max, it wasn't going to make a whole lot of money. It was going to lose some money.
Yeah,
there's also a lot of things around when a property that's old comes back out. There's a lot of people in especially YouTube and pop culture who bring up stuff and do history videos and that sort of thing that inadvertently become hype men. And I know that Dune has that. There's a huge fan base for Dune the book, and there's a huge stupid bunch of people who are huge fans of the original miniseries. That are looking for it.
That's right.
It's fucking really be talked about, at all.
I was going to say I actually agree with everything Matt said. I thought the comparison to Blade Runner is interesting because essentially it really is Denis Villeneuve putting himself in a very similar situation again, right? The only people who thought Blade Runner was going to be $1 billion film were the dumbasses that run Alcon Entertainment. Those two morons were the only people who thought that movie can make $1 billion.
But it looked like one. You get bloody Deacon's bloody cinematography. It looked like it was going to be $1 billion film. Everything about that film was perfect except for the story. That was the only issue.
So this is where I was going with that point, right? Blade Runner and Dune are very similar in that they are both new versions. Obviously, one a sequel, one a reboot, but they are new versions of films from the early 80s, both of which failed because the original Dune failed and the original Blade Runner failed in terms of a box office. And like me personally, I for the longest time have known that Dune is that David Lynch movie. I haven't seen it all the way through, but I've seen bits of it. I read it on his Wikipedia page. I didn't realize until recently how extensive that universe is because I heard they were like making the spin-off show with Zendaya possibly, and I was like, really? All right. I looked it up, and it's not something that interests me. I'm not the biggest into that heady sci-fi stuff, but it is not a property that's very well known nowadays. It really isn't. It's got classic historical value in terms of its possible sci-fi influence, but to the modern audience of to people my age, no one's gonna if I go to my friends who see movies often in theaters but are not movie enthusiasts. Unfortunately, none of them are going to know what Dune is, and putting Denis Villeneuve's name in big letters, while it does a lot for me, none of them are going to know who that is, because all of his pre-blockbuster dramas made money, but not enough to be that known. And his blockbusters have, I mean, Arrival made less than Blade Runner. It's only a success because it cost less than half of what Blade Runner cost.
Right.
I mean, it's a far superior film.
It is, you're right. But the point being, even then, most
that
people
would,
don't know what Arrival is.
I think they were trying to do the similar thing of what they did with It. It was a mini series that a lot of people didn't even know about. It was from a book, same sort of scenario. It grossed bucket loads of money. So they think they're going to take the same sort of thing. They're going to be the It of that one, and it makes sense because unlike It, Dune still has things. If you ever go to any of the cons, the Dune stuff, people are still doing it. Like 40 years later, it's still as big as it was, because now you've got the fathers and the mothers who are getting their kids into it and that sort of thing. So there's that behind the scenes. If you're not a part of the world, cult following. Like if you ask anyone that doesn't understand what movie trivia and that sort of stuff is, they would be like, well, that doesn't understand, but they don't realize how much of a big cult following is. But now imagine that on a global scale. It's the same sort of thing. So I get why they feel that it would translate the same way that it does. It would.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think they picked Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve was picked for the right reason, because he does the one thing that not a lot of other people do. He gets people who are better than him at doing the other stuff, and he takes a back seat. He just says, "You're the best at doing this. Do this. Make it look good. Make it do this." And he doesn't micromanage other things.
True.
But that being said, he doesn't get any of the credit when the other stuff goes good. Deakins gets it, or the other one gets it, or this.
Right.
So that's why I think his name's not as big.
Right. And speaking of that, I would like to say I think it's really, really cool that Chris got Roger Deakins to do his camera work right now. I think it's really, really cool. But no, honestly,
especially that color palette. I just don't know how he does it. He must have put particles in the air or something. They constantly keep changing.
It was masterful. But I think Dune's going to be really good. I have 100% confidence that Denny's going to pull it off and make a great movie. I think I think this is a type of movie that I actually think benefits it more being on HBO Max and going to theaters, because people, maybe they don't know what Dune is, and I know the cast is awesome, but a cast, as we've seen recently, doesn't guarantee you the big money. Look at Monuments Men, didn't make a whole lot of money, got a lot of big names in that movie.
Monuments Men was not good.
It was not good.
Having good actors in a movie doesn't make a good movie. Look at movie 43.
And when I say Monuments Men, the reason why I say that is it didn't have a big opening weekend. The opening weekend of Monuments Men wasn't really that great. It wasn't like a disastrous opening weekend, but it wasn't something you would expect a movie with a cast like that to make on opening weekend, regardless of how big the movie is.
Yeah, but before that though, critics came out and they bashed the movie because it wasn't good.
Hate train going on for Rotten Tomatoes. Going around when I walked around the theater, I was like, well, critics didn't like this movie, Rotten Tomatoes didn't like it, but they don't know what they're talking about. That's always been a thing. Look at the Transformers movies get trashed on Rotten Tomatoes until last night made a ton of money. So I mean, critics and what they say, it might affect it a little bit, but unless it's like
Transformers also made money because of product placement, because Bayisms.
Right, but you figured after the third one, which I didn't think the third one was bad. You figured, okay, third one wasn't going to make $1 billion, but it made $1 billion. Even though the second one,
Transformers. I mean, I'm sorry, they may be bad movies, but I still enjoy watching big robots fuck shit up.
It's the same reason why I still go to cinemas to watch Terminator films, even though I know they're going to be garbage.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
But people,
sorry, Matt, I'll let you finish. Sorry, buddy.
Even with the cast like Dune has, not knowing a whole lot, like a lot of people don't know much about it, I don't think it would have had a monster opening weekend. I think it would have done well opening weekend, but it wouldn't have had a big one. So I think with HBO Max, now you're going to get the people who maybe are at home and they're on HBO Max, right? What's Dune? Oh, has Timothée Chalamet, has Zendaya, has Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac. Let's check this out, and then that opens up the audience for that. Kong versus Kong and Godzilla. I don't think that was going to be a $1 billion movie or anything. I mean, honestly, I don't think people care about Godzilla anymore.
If it was the first film in the new franchise, then maybe.
Potentially, but even Kong and Godzilla fighting against each other, I don't think it was going to be like this monster opening weekend. I think it would have did good, but I don't think it would have been big hit. Wonder Woman would have been big. Maybe the new Suicide Squad because of James Gunn, and and there are people that really do enjoy Suicide Squad. So I think those would have done well. But movies like Dune, Sopranos prequels, those aren't going to be, big box office hits. But I think with HBO Max, the Sopranos thing would have done good enough, I think, just because of the audience. But I think HBO Max opens up the audience more, which could help a Dune 2 and some of the other things coming from it and help it make more money than what it would have if maybe it was just all theaters.
All right. So I was going to say something else, but quite frankly, we've been on this for a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and move it on instead. We'll go ahead and get into what is the final topic for the night. Our next story this week focuses on Tom Cruise, who made headlines after blowing up at 2 crew members on the set of Mission Impossible 7. The crew members in question were seen by Cruise standing less than 2 meters apart while watching a monitor, which breaks COVID rules on the shooting set. Cruise went off at the 2 in front of about 50 other people who were in the vicinity to hear. Cruise has gone to great lengths as the film's producer to keep the set safe, including having meetings with Christopher McQuarrie, the director, to establish guidelines, and spending nearly $700,000 of his own personal money to rent a cruise ship for the cast and crew to live on when filming in Norway in order to keep quarantine. Since the leaked tirade against the 2, multiple crew members have said to have quit, and anonymous sources have said that the eruption was the result of months of building tension within the set, with Cruise often appearing upset when he sees other people not taking the precautions as seriously as he does. The film, which is shooting back-to-back with Mission Impossible 8 and is scheduled to release in under a year, has already seen setbacks and delays due to COVID-19, including multiple shutdowns due to outbreaks of cases. Many of the public, including actor George Clooney in a recent interview, have commented on the situation. The general consensus seems to be that even though the delivery was rough, the message he was trying to deliver was correct. Mission Impossible 7 is currently slated to release on November 19th, 2021.
If you mind, could I start this one off?
Sure.
Well, I was going to say, originally Nikki and Devin were going to play it, but since they are gone, if you guys, just for the sake of having it on the show, I do have the typed up version of what he said, if anyone here hasn't heard it and would like to hear it.
Actually, if you're going to play it, you should play the crossover version between his blow up versus Christian Bale's blow up. It is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Also, they've also got they've done Power Rangers video edit of it, Santa and Red-Nosed Reindeer, and My Little Pony. I think My Little Pony was the best one because it also included the crossover.
Anyway,
Matt, you could try and play it, but we couldn't hear. It was faint the last time was when we tested it before.
I'll turn that bad boy up.
If I was on my computer, I'd share the video and I'll let you do it, but I'm on my phone, so I can't.
So I'll pull it up on here. So tell me if you guys can hear this, and if not, I can just pull it up on a screen share.
Probably best just do it screen share.
Do you hear it?
Screen share it, man. Screen share it.
Just for the sake of time, I can just read it because I literally have.
Just go ahead and read it. Just go ahead and read it.
Okay. So there were 2 audio clips that got recorded. The first one is to quote the video. We are the gold standard. They're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us, because they believe in us and what we're doing. I'm on the phone with every fucking studio at night, insurance companies, producers, and they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs, you motherfuckers. I don't want to ever see it again. And then the second quote that was taken in the video, that's it. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their fucking homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education. That's what I sleep with every night. The future of the fucking industry. So I'm sorry I'm beyond your apologies. I told you and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out. We are not shutting this fucking movie down. Is it understood? If I see it again, you're fucking gone.
Okay, Grant, you're up, brother.
Okay, one thing. My favorite part where he says, "I'm sorry, but no apologies." I'm like, "Wait, you just apologize?" Okay, never mind. Here's the thing: everyone knows Tom Cruise is crazy. He's a crazy nut job and everything. And the fact of the matter is, I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan, and he's right with what he's saying. He's going. He's an actor, so he's going over the top as he should, but he's also a producer. And the fact of the matter is, when he said about being on the phone with insurance and everything, the insurance is already on his ass because he insists on doing his own stunts. He wants to breathe. He wants to try and breathe underwater for 10 years. He wants to fly in space without a helmet on. Like the guy is a nut job. He's more likely going to die from tripping over a cord or one of his stunts than he is from COVID. That's besides the point. What he said was right, and the fact of the matter is, you can, when you hear it, which is, it doesn't translate in the text, you can hear a certain point where he's like, fuck, I've gone too far. It's like, enough, that's it. Come on, guys. I don't want to see it again. Like, he backs up. He knows that how he delivered it was wrong, but he sounds like a bloke that has the weight of the world on his shoulders, because he knows the one thing that Hollywood isn't gonna mention: their industry is fucking dying. It's almost gone. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, he's well aware that this could be one of the last films that he does, like blockbuster wise, anyway. And I think he went a little overboard. But as a producer, he's their boss. Yeah. If you're on a movie set and your boss yells at you, and did you notice that you didn't hear anyone else say anything in there? So one of two things: either they understood that they fucked up and they stayed quiet, they were worried about their jobs, or they deliberately didn't say anything. So then there was no evidence against them.
Right, yeah. And one of the things to point out is when you, again, obviously, the audio is all over the place. You can go find it. When you listen to it, there's no other voice, whether it comes from them or, according to the eyewitness reports, the 50 other people that were in the vicinity to have heard exactly what he said to them.
I like how he said he sleeps with the future of the industry. I don't understand what that means, but I sleep with that future of the industry. I know.
He's being a smartass, Aaron. He's being a smartass.
Well, because I was going to say,
it's a poor choice of words. I said he's a guy that's going on a rant, and the perfect way to describe it is a rant. Maybe he shouldn't have spoken that way, but at the end of the day, he's put his own money into it. The production has already been shut down before.
Right. Yes.
And he wants to get this done because he wants to be done with it. That's why they were doing back to back. After this, fucking Ethan Hunt no longer exists in his mind. He wants to move on to other things, and he just keeps getting dragged back in to everything. He wants to get it done because if this is successful and it works, they can prove that the exemption clause that they were given from the governors and everything. Which, by the way, people who I've spoken to within the industry absolutely hate the fact that happens, because it now puts a target on them. Because all it takes is one photo of 3 or 4 people gathering around a thing. They go, look, they're not doing it, blah, blah. They're essential, but I've just lost my restaurant. I've just lost my hairdresser salon. I've just lost my, groceries place.
Right.
He has the weight of the world on his shoulders. And the fact of the matter is that anyone who quit because he yelled at them are a bunch of fucking pussies.
Yes.
Get in there.
Yeah,
go work with Kubrick and see how you freaking survive.
Now, I've had to, I was never in a situation where it's like, oh, there's a pandemic going on, and if you guys screw up, we're going to be shut down. But, I mean, I've had to, yell at people. I've yelled at, somebody work-related because they were screwing us that day, and then somebody who used to work on the channel. And I understand he's absolutely right, because if you yell at them like that when they screw up, and you put it in their head and still be like, hey, it's okay. You know what, you're fine. You just can't do that anymore. Compared to yelling at them, telling them, you cannot do this again or else you're done. They're never going to do it again.
No apologies. Best line he said, no apologies. Just don't do it again.
I guarantee, after this happened, they followed the guidelines. I'm sure everybody followed the guidelines, because it's true. If there was a screw up and it caused the movie to shut down, Tom Cruise would be fine because he's got enough money to, live, and take care of the next 6 generations of Cruise people in the family. But there's people that are like, that work with the mics and the cameras and the lighting and just the smaller guys who, if they're out, they may be out of a job, they may be out of a house, they may not have food, they might, they're going to really struggle, and they're already struggling as is because of everything going on. So, and this would affect not only Mission Impossible, but this would affect all of Hollywood.
And he mentions that. That's the best part. Yeah. He mentions that.
Yeah. And it's not like you have to do what I say because of this. He's not yelling just to be, a dick. He's yelling, but he's trying to be like, look, I don't want to fire you. You know what I mean? It's like, I care about you guys. I want you guys to be fine. Because he could have easily just said, you know what, you're gone, get out. But no, he didn't. That was the thing.
And that's
he said next time.
And they've already been shut down once. So you know what? If something, God forbid, happens, and somebody on that cast, because there's older people, there's people there that are successful, that have a better chance of catching the virus, and then they could take that home with them or what have you, and then that could run rampant. It's already happened before. I mean, think about Cruise.
It happened on the set of Batman.
It did.
Battison got it.
Yeah. Got it.
Battison got it. The caterers got it. The drivers got it.
I mean, that shit runs rampant, But quick shout out to B&M Adventures. I don't know how he found us from the Tim Tracker group, but welcome to the channel. Thank you. We do this show live every Saturday night. We've got a couple more things. If you hang out, we'll tell you about what we
technically it's Sunday afternoon,
You know what? Fuck you. Just not all of us lives in the future, damn it. Anyways, so I love that we all basically have the same opinion. Yeah, he may have gone overboard with the way he said it, but it had to be said. I get emails from Caleb's school. When they were open, I was getting an email every fucking couple days that somebody at the school, maybe not that has been around the kids, but somebody at the fucking school had come down with it. And then they were quarantined. Shit, I got an email 2 days ago, and it just so happened that the art teacher hadn't been there for a couple of days when this email came in, that she hadn't been around kids, or somebody hadn't been around kids, but they have to self-quarantine due to the fact of catching the virus. So it's not that damn uncommon that this shit runs rampant. And he's already said, this isn't the first time that this has happened. So obviously somebody is fucked up somewhere. I mean, you go back to the NFL, look at the NFL. They're supposed to be quarantining, but there are people that are catching it because their kids are, going to school or what have you. I mean, there were NASCAR drivers when they were going to different tracks and, there were no fans and they limited everybody to it. They were keeping their kids out of school, even though their schools had opened, just so they don't contract the virus and so forth. So I completely understand where he's coming from. And I mean, that's a lot of money. And if he can prove that if you go to wherever these places are and you set up your bubble, just like the NBA, if you notice before the NBA players started going out to the strip clubs and so forth and shit, that nobody there was catching the virus. If they can prove that if you do it this way, that it can be done. So,
and I was going to say, as somebody who lives in Florida, quite literally 10 minutes away from the highway where they started the bubble next to Disney, I mean, that shit was high security. The hotels that they were putting those players in, they never released what hotels they were putting the players in. But as somebody who lives here driving by, I knew where the players were at because there are places that would normally never have that many cars, and it's all unmarked police and security that are making sure they're doing well. And when it came to them playing at Wide World of Sports, Disney set the area up in such a way that you couldn't get within. We're talking hundreds of feet of Wide World of Sports. You couldn't get near the turn for the complex, let alone get into it. They were very well set up in terms of how they handled their bubble.
I mean, UFC bought an island. They bought an island to do their fights on. So,
Chris, I see you. I'll go down to you in just a sec. But what I was going to say was, Tom Cruise seems to be wanting to handle this in a certain way. Like one of the things I mentioned, and the number is a bit lower than that, but when you round up, it's roughly around $700,000 of his own personal money was spent renting a cruise ship in order for when they were filming in Norway. I believe they're in England now, but they were in Norway to live on, because Norway didn't, whatever their rules were, Cruise said, okay, we need to create a bubble. I'll just rent I'll spend my own money to rent a ship in order to make sure that my people are following the rules we're meant to be following. We will only be on your country land when we are needing to film. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. Thank you very much. I've got to take off. I want to thank Maddie, Aaron, and it's good to see Diaz on camera, even if he is in a disco. Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. I love the discussion back and forth, and the fact that we went on an echo chamber and just all have to agree on everything. Tom Cruise thing's a bit different, but the more heated sort of stuff. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on again. I appreciate it, and God bless everyone.
Love you, homie.
And this is where DS says, well, I disagree with you guys.
No, and
Chris is like, you all are a bunch of fucking morons. You know, he should have just fired him in the first place.
So I'm going to get personal here. As someone who is, as of this week, essentially working now, because I work at BJ and we put the food out every day for people and everything we afford to get people home, food, shelter, everything they need.
Yeah.
I'm happy he spoke out. But this is important that he speak out for everybody, pretty much on my coworkers, to put their ass online every day. And I'm happy he went less Grossman on them, to think of him in Trapper's Thunder voice.
Yeah.
And so thank you, Tom Cruise, because especially for all of my coworkers who've been working at BJ for a long time.
Tell me, Tom Cruise, I'm on fire! Oh, wait.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree. It's just an instance of, right, and it's like when you listen to it, it's the scenario doesn't sound like it's two guys closer than they should be, probably watching footage on a monitor, making sure everything came out okay. But it's the matter of, apparently, again, according to inside sources on the set, that this tension has been building for months. This is not the first time an incident like this has happened. Obviously, we know the film has been shut down at least once, maybe even twice. I know there was something, because they've been filming since July, and I know there's been more, at least a shutdown, if not more. Yeah. It's just, I understand it, because from a producer's point of view, right, this is, like, we've had bigger films film, like obviously Scream started and completed their filming during COVID, and other movies have filmed, but I would say in terms of blockbuster status, in terms of a film that started, like, not just finished production, like Jurassic Park finished production, Marvel finished productions, in terms of started a brand new production and has worked the entire way through COVID, Mission Impossible is probably the highest profile franchise that has done that.
That the Batman, yeah, I would say that the Batman and maybe the Suicide Squad.
Maybe
And so with that being kept in mind, especially because he is Tom Cruise, people often forget he's not just Tom Cruise the actor, he is Tom Cruise the producer. And you have to look at it from that point of view of, I'm sure that, especially because I believe Mission Impossible is attached to Paramount, if I remember correctly. Paramount are a studio that have been searching for, franchises and success over the last few years. So I'm sure some suit is on the phone with him every day from LA being like, how's it going? What's happening? What's this? What's that? He's got connections to everywhere in Hollywood. I'm sure people are calling him and saying, hey, we know you're on a major set working internationally. What's it like? What's the experience like? And if his film keeps getting shut down and shut down and shut down, that's a bad look on him as a producer. And so I'm sure at a certain point that pressure has to mount and reach ahead, and unfortunately it's on these two. And yeah, you can say in terms of the language, using the F, tell them basically fuck you, fuck this, don't fucking do this, like over and over again. It was very overly aggressive, and Grant was right. Again, unfortunately, just Nicky had everything timed and then had to go. But you can hear it in his voice in the audio, even by the end of his speech. And obviously there's a gap period we don't know about, because those are two separate audio chunks that have been leaked of just Cruise's voice. But you can tell that at some point he realized, okay, I went too far with this. I need to start regressing and bringing it back and making it clear that it's like, look, I don't want to fire anyone. I don't want to become that guy, but we have to establish a ground rule somewhere, and it's going to start with you guys.
I mean, honestly, safety first. Could you imagine the look of it? I mean, look at, like we said, the Batman. Look at that. They had to shut down, what, twice because of COVID? 3 times, maybe? I don't remember the exact word was. But you also know that or whatever company that is actually producing them, and I don't just mean Tom Cruise's company, I mean the main company that's, you know, floating the bill, whatever they are, Universal, Paramount, whatever they are, you know, they're making these people take COVID tests all the time. You know,
it's Paramount.
It is Paramount. So you know that the Paramount bigwigs are looking at these and they're going, okay, so far, good. Okay, wait, there's a bad test. Good. Oh shit! Now there's
here it is. So the studio's directly involved. I don't believe Cruise has a studio involved, but he is the head producer of the project. It's Skydance, Bad Robot, and Paramount.
Okay, so that's J.J. Abrams, for
Skydance is David Ellison.
And then Bad Robot is J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm getting at is, you know, the heads of these studios are going, okay, so far so good. Well, there's a bad test. Let's shut down one. Okay, this person's cleared. Everybody's cleared. Let's keep going. Go. Oh, there's another bad test. Let's put this person in quarantine. This person was around this person. So now we have to pull these amount of people off of the set, quarantine them away from their people, still in their bubble though, and we're still going to continue to pay them. And then we have to worry about, you know, now we've got to double our tests. So the rapid tests are thousands of dollars to begin with, you know. So you got to think that the average film set has what, several hundred people at least on it.
At least, yeah.
And you know they're getting tested every 2 to 4 days, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I know football players. I know the NFL are testing twice a week. I believe
it's every day.
Is it every day now?
Yeah, it's every day.
Okay, so they're getting tested every day. So you got to look at it like that, though. So that's adding on to the production budget just to begin with, and so I can understand after so many points of period, just fucking stay away from each other. We've already gone through this shit. You know, this is something that we could very easily take care of, and you know, it's pretty simple. Stay the fuck apart. You don't want to do it? Well, I'm going to get in your face about it. Hi, kitty. My cat knocked over my camera, so I had to.
And appreciate to put the life on the line every day, but it's firefighter police. Essential worker that puts the food out.
Well, it's not even that though. He's trying to prove to the entertainment, you know, companies, look, if you do it this way, you do this step, and this step, it is possible to continue to make films. And so I can understand where he's coming from. I mean, it goes back to the movies we were talking about earlier. You don't know what it's going to look like in 6 months. It could be better. It could be worse. At least if it does get worse or kind of just levels out, you know, it stays where it's at least we know we can handle it, is what he's getting at. And you're right. You know, you do hear him go, oh, maybe I've gone too far. You know, he pulls back on the reins a little bit, but it's got to be, you know, just fucking irritating as hell. You go, okay, we've set these ground rules. I mean, being a parent, I'm the only parent on the panel right now. It's like with Caleb. It's simple rules, you know, like with his allowance. Basically, he is supposed to, anytime there's big trash to take out, not heavy but large items that don't go in the bag, like milk jugs or whatever, he's just supposed to pick them up, take them out, and clean up his room.
Right.
It's like, bro, it's simple jobs. You just do it, you get it done with, and you go about your day.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. Right.
And before I forget, I do want to ask, because we were talking about bubbles and whatnot, and you, Aaron, you said you had an idea where the NBA players were saying, was one of the hotels in Coronado Springs?
From Possibly, but from what I'm aware, a lot of them were not staying on Disney property itself.
Okay.
They were staying in surrounding hotels within the area. Just
But they
because
were
at
still
that point,
barricaded, though.
at that point, Disney was in some sort of semblance of prep mode. So they may have had some people at Coronado, maybe towards the end. But again, areas like Coronado, just because it is near enough to Wide World of Sports, blocked off. So I couldn't have told you. The only reason I can take a guess as to where some of them were staying is because like there's on a connecting highway to Disney, there's a line of hotels, and hotels that are usually not as busy during that time of the year all of a sudden had all sorts of black, silver, unmarked cars just sitting outside of them, or like the odd bus you'd see on one, and it's like you can't it's positioned to where you can't see any players and you're not getting in there for shit. But you can start to kind of pick up and guess, okay, they're putting them up in there because it's like not the shithole, but it's not like so nice people would guess.
It kind of goes back to like when we had Kaiser on. Remember when we had Kaiser on, and he told us that
they booked out a hotel in Vegas.
The only people, if you don't know, our friend John Kaiser, or as Caleb says, Uncle John, he said that when they were filming Love Island, they actually completely quarantined an entire casino from the ground floor to the, if you were not supposed to be there, you were not getting on site. Like like the staff got to come in and out as they pleased.
Yeah.
But they didn't actually get close enough to the people on the set to do anything. Like if you were ordering food, there was a section where people would drop the food off. Then hotel employees would go and get it and take it to a certain point, and then the other people would, their people would come and take it. So, and he said nobody got sick while they were there the whole time, and they were tested every day. Whether you were just working at the hotel or you were on staff, if you were a part of the production, you were getting tested every day. So it is possible to do it. You just have to put forth the work,
Yeah, because one of the guys who were like one of the NBA players I was staying at a Disney hotel was, talking about it. He's like, we could have gotten, normal, like what the, food is that they serve, like in the food, the like food bar or whatever. And he's like, we could have got that, but they did have, some fancier foods, but they upcharged that. Like they never got free food or anything. They it's like cup of coffee is like $25. And then whatnot.
I remember reading that.
The mouse didn't care who you were. The mouse like, oh, you're an NBA player? More. That's going to cost more. Like one of the players literally left, got out of the bubble, went to Atlanta, went to a strip club and got wings there. Really the best wings in the world.
And then he got corona and all.
No, they quarantined him for 10 days. He did end up getting it, but they were like, look, it takes all of us. So you're done for 10 days. And then
so it just proves that maybe he went about it the wrong way, but it seemed to work out.
But he got to see some half-covered pussy and eat some wings, and that's what it's all about, baby.
That's all that matters. Right.
I mean, I've got my Instapot that we can throw some wings in right now. And like you said, Grant Gregory's got some pretty interesting shit on Pornhub. We're good to go.
I feel like that's a natural mark to close out on.
It really is. All right, guys. Chris, why don't you go ahead and plug what's going on with you?
You can find me on Facebook. Got a few matches come up in the near future, but I probably will be by the end of the year posting my top 12, my top 10 of the year, but I probably don't wait until January when the Oscar contender mode come out on streaming. But yeah, you can find me anywhere, and stay safe, guys. It's a dangerous time we live in, and be kind to all the essential working out there.
Come on now. At 12:01 January 1st, Godzilla's going to appear, and we're all fucked anyways. Aaron, tell the good people where they can find you.
You guys can find me in all sorts of places in TMG. We still got that geek tournament going on. I have the luxury of knowing exactly where we're at in recording and what's done and what's not and who's won and who's lost. But you guys don't. You're watching it as it uploads I myself have had the pleasure of being there for all of it. Yeah. I've had the pleasure of being there for all of it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is incredible. It's a good tournament. We're getting some high level of play and entertaining matches, so be sure to check those out as they're going up. Other than that, just here on TMG, man, we're looking forward to the future, 2021, hoping for some good things.
And Rex and Andor, how about you?
Rex Andor, thank you very much. Guys, first off, before I plug myself, use the hashtag RexandArandor. Use it. Trying to get Michael from Rex and Around to be on Andor. To be, he just looks the part. You got to get him on there. Great human being. Runs Super 73. If you want a bike, go to them. But you can find me on here. I'm on After Dark most of the time, unless I have things going on during the time, like parties or football and whatnot. So if none of those are on, you can catch me on here, of course. You can find me on Inside the Horseshoe. We didn't have one this past weekend because I just had so much stuff going on, and then I had a family thing last week, so we didn't get to do it. But we'll be back probably Thursday or Saturday.
I was about to say Thursday's Christmas Eve, so that's an
yeah, it's probably Saturday. We'll be on Saturday after I go see Wonder Woman or something. I don't know. We'll find out. But you find me in there, and then you can also find me on my personal channel that I just launched. Just my name, Matt Beer. Boom, there you go. We have my first video up, 117 views in 4 hours for first video. Not too bad. 23 subs. That's pretty cool. I'm sure most of those people subbed to me before. I just never paid attention. But yeah, that's where you find me. And that's my cat when it doesn't.
I had to add the cat. All right, guys. So obviously, I am the host of After Dark. I just was too lazy to get my camera back up and reset. So, obviously, you can find us here. Next week, we're going to be doing our New Year's Eve celebration. We may bring some cocktails. We'll probably have some of our friends up here. If you are on the Movie Trivia Showdown Facebook group, please go to the link that Christian just posted. After Dark is nominated for After Show of the Year. I can confirm that some of our Showdown friends have actually put us down on their ballot, so that's really cool of them. Also, starting Tuesday, we're launching a new show on here. It is called For the Love Of. Basically, what it is whoever's on the panel, it could be anything, any franchise, TV show, movie, games, sports, who cares? The host is going to choose a topic, and he or she will put out a post on the page. This week, because like I said, I picked up HBO Max and I restarted watching Doctor Who. So this week, it is For the Love of Doctor Who. Myself and some panelists will be sitting down. We will discuss what we love about the show, maybe some things we don't like, and then what it means to us. That'll be going up sometime. We'll be going live sometime Tuesday afternoon. What, Bear?
So I would like to volunteer one of the episodes to be about God, so we can call it For the Love of God.
Guys,
it's just going to be Matt talking about Beckman for an hour.
Pretty much. Matt, you can if you can find the people to do a For the Love of Beckman show, that is more than welcome to you.
Look, more people would volunteer for that because it's Beckman than any other show, because it's Beckman and everybody loves Beckman. And if you don't like Beckman, if you don't think Beckman's a good movie at all, here, I'm putting myself on full screen. Now I can explain it clear. If you do not love Beckman, you're a piece of shit, and you have no taste in quality. He's iconic. Beckman is fantastic. So if you don't like Beckman, I don't trust your judgment in film, television at all. I don't care.
Anyways,
you want to club baby
and on that note, Maddie, I'll click the outro. You click the end button. Have a great night, guys.